What is up, everybody? Welcome. Welcome. This is a little bright. Let me change this. So I have been playing my Guardian Druid a little bit more. And the funny thing is, dungeon crawling is not too bad. The queue times are really short. And actually, by dungeon crawling, I can get really big pulls going. So while on this Guardian Druid, dungeon crawling has actually been pretty good for leveling. It's just knocking down all the things. You guys will see the pulls right now. I'm queued up. I want to show you guys that I've been leveling up, so I'm level 113. I'm about to hit 114. But I haven't gotten like a crazy amount of upgrades. So I'm still depending on scaling not being completely broken. But this is still really OP. I really want to see this in endgame. And then something else that's happening today is they are opening up the first wing of the raid, but only in LFR difficulty. And the thing is, they might have it open all weekend. They said if testing goes well, they'll have it open all weekend, which means that I'll be able to jump in there and get a lot of footage. Last time, I want to say it was like 3 weeks ago, they had a normal mode open, and groups were really only forming on Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, I was trying to get more footage, and I think I was only able to find like 2 groups or something. So hopefully this weekend I'll be able to get a lot more footage. What's up, nerds? So hopefully this weekend I'll be able to get a lot more footage for you guys, just so that when BfA comes out, there's probably going to be a bit of a time constraint on the raid. Before that raid even does come out, we can try to put out some guides. One other thing, one difference that I'm running right now on the Guardian Druid is I am trying out Lunar Beam, and Lunar Beam actually works out pretty damn well for really big pulls. So I've been running this dungeon a lot too. So something like this dungeon, when I do the really big pulls, bears are lactose intolerant and milk gives you the shakes. Oh no, it's just I am the milkshakes druid. Actually, it's weird because I'm a troll, but in live, my druid was named Milkshakes, but I was a Tauren, so it was the whole cow thing. But yeah, I guess as a troll, it doesn't really work. So there's the lunar beam going out right there. Let me interrupt that bulwark. But yeah, that lunar beam kind of goes down on the ground. It's really weird and hard to see where it's at, but you guys can see how ridiculous the pulls can be. Now, if there wasn't this guy, if that Colossus wasn't part of the next pull, I'd be able to pull all of this together. But that Colossus gets a buff for every time somebody goes down. So that Colossus ends up becoming like one of the guys in Blackroot Hold that buffs himself, or in the Bat Stairwell. That just ends up being 20 times his size. That's what these Colossus end up doing. What's up, Hooves? Bolt. And then the cooldown of this lunar beam isn't that substantial. It really helps out for leveling content. For raiding, I'm sure that, what is it, Rend and Tear? Yeah, Rend and Tear is going to be better for raiding. Like 6% damage reduction on a raid boss is going to be way better than a small heal and a small AoE cleave. But for now, you know, just spamming these dungeons, it's putting in a lot of work. But you guys can see that my HP never really like gets chunked down. If I even get knocked down, let's say I go down to like 80%, it's still a very smooth drop down to 80%. It's Friday. We'll be doing much better in 2 hours when the weekend hits. Nice, Bolt. That is for sure. That is guaranteed. And then this weekend I can get some more LFR footage. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Because I have some normal mode footage, but yeah, English is hard. I said it earlier. Getting like a normal group that went through all of it last time was nearly impossible. Most normal groups formed on Friday, and a lot of them were just, you know, wiping on the first boss the whole time. So it It was a little hard to get in there. Druid Masterclass. I'm not gonna play a bear for BfA, but I can absolutely tell you that if you want a tank that is OP, a tank that is very smooth in the damage they take, a tank that has really good self-healing, yeah, play a bear. Play a bear. This is the only tank I hadn't played in the beta. I've played all the other tanks. I've only played Paladin and Warrior at endgame. But I've played the rest of them, and the rest of them feel good. But this is ridiculous. Let me show you guys. That's 1 pull, 2 pulls, 3 pulls. This is a pretty hefty pull too. And the 4th one over here, perfect. All right. Now let's just start dotting things up. For this pull being so substantial, I do have to heal myself, but hey, you know what? I'm having 4 pulls at once, and I have to use my kit. Like, yeah, that's part of it. And then let me use that lunar beam, so you guys can see that. Oh man, even my team is going down. Actually, my team's dying. I'm fine. I'm just hanging out. There it is. There it is. That was 4 individual pulls all at once, one of which is a pretty substantial pull before the boss. And it's just getting it done on a Guardian Druid. Now, hopefully it isn't this way when I start doing some endgame, but I have a feeling it's kind of going to be a little bit of give and take. Like, it's going to be a little bit closer to this than it's not. And like on my Warrior, and even when, there it is, level 114, ding. Unfortunately, that means that now I have a little bit less mitigation because I haven't upgraded my gear. But on my Warrior and on my Paladin, dungeons were not like this. They just weren't. Even if it's just a leveling experience and at 120 everything is evened out and I'm a crazy person for thinking that Guardian Druids are going to be like this, it's still really ridiculous. What's up, Brain Gods? How you doing, man? Still 6 hours for you to enjoy your weekend? Dang. Almost there, man. Almost there. So Druid is a top tank? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, this is just the leveling experience, and, you know, how I mentioned it earlier. I've played, my Warrior is Mythic Dungeon geared. My Prot Paladin is Heroic Dungeon geared. And while I was leveling on them, this wasn't even close to what the leveling experience was on them. It definitely was a much more traditional tank experience where, hey, let's slow down, hold on guys. People, don't be body pulling on me. Like, we need to mitigate these things. We need to CC certain things. Oh no, wrong one. I still haven't bound my forms. I need to do that. So yeah, on the other tanks, it was very much like, hey guys, let's just, come on, let's take it easy. New content, new stuff to do. And then on my Druid, it's like, oh yeah, you guys are gonna pull stuff. Don't worry, I can cleave. I can do an AoE whenever I want. My swipe has no cooldown. My Thrash is really good constant aggro because of the bleed effect. It has a very short cooldown. Iron Fur is crazy. All I have to do is do Iron Fur to stay alive. If I get in trouble, I have self heals, and I also have 2 charges of a really ridiculous cooldown. Like every tank has that cooldown of like Survival Instincts. It reduces the damage you take by 50% for 6 seconds. I think Shield Wall is 40% now, so it's a little bit different, but I think it lasts longer than 6 seconds. So it's like, hey, you have a really overpowered defensive. You can use both charges back to back if you so want to. It's on a long recharge, sure, but in case you do get in trouble, you can just like completely negate it. Nice. What's up, Boomtown? How you doing, man? Oh no! Nice, we made it. I really need to bind my forms. Between Bear and Demon Hunter, what's best? Bear. Unfortunately. So the reason why Demon Hunters kind of fall by the wayside is they seem to lack at least one defensive cooldown. Because all you really have is, you have your active mitigation, you have Demon Spikes, and then you have Fiery Brand, and that's about it. Like, meta is your 5-minute cooldown. You're not going to be popping meta all the time. So your short-term defensive cooldown for like a boss or anything like that, a big pull, is Fiery Brand, and you know you can't use that on a big pull because it doesn't. It can spread if you spec that way, but most people are probably not going to spec that way because the other way of specking is better. So, Demon Hunters, the Azurite traits that they're getting are very, very strong. And if the Azurite traits are going to be that strong, then maybe Demon Hunters can come up. But so far in the past 3 builds, they have changed the Azurite traits every single build. So I can't for sure tell you that, like, yeah, the Azurite traits are exactly going to be this because they've been changing so much. I don't think they really know what they're doing with the Azurite traits yet. I don't think they definitely don't have a final I think I LOS'd him. That's weird. They don't have a final version of these Azurite traits yet. So if they keep them strong, maybe Demon Hunters are going to be okay. Maybe. But that's the thing. Guardian Druids are fine without the need of Azurite traits. But does it have chains? Demon Hunters? Yeah, man, you still have chains. Sigil of Chains? Is that what we're talking about? Yeah, they still have it. I am okay, still not able to play WoW Windows 10 updates last Friday. Your buddy's coming over Saturday to work on it for me. Wait. So, I thought this was a work-related thing, Brian. What happened? Your computer automatically upgraded to Windows 10 and your World of Warcraft broke? Because WoW can run on a Windows 10. I mean, I don't have a Windows 10, but WoW can run on Windows 10. So Druid is tippy top tier again? Yeah. I'll be able to tell you a much more definitive answer of like absolutely once I get to Heroic and Mythic dungeons. But what I can tell you is that even just from this leveling experience, this Guardian Druid is performing way better than the other tanks. The other tanks bring other things to the table. Like, you know, you can't beat the utility that a Protection Paladin is going to bring. They have Blessing of Sacrifice. They can spec into Light of the Protector to be able to off heal. You know, they can, like, Prop Paladins can do a lot of really cool things. But the amount of mitigation that you get out of a Druid is enough to make it absolutely worth it to just be like, hey, I'm just going to be a Druid, because if I'm on my Paladin, my healers are going to get a little bit more stressed out. They're more likely to go more likely to require certain cooldowns. If there's like a big boss damaging ability that is going to completely wreck me, then you know, Guardian Druids are more likely to require less gear to get through it. So that's what it's looking like right now. I'm working my way up. I'm dungeon crawling, and it's a ton of XP. I get 1 level like every 2, maybe 3 dungeons I do. So right now I'm just trying to hit max level, and then I'll be doing that end game grind. I definitely want to show you guys that end game grind. All right. Hopefully we get to take down the boss before we get another fear. We might. I don't think so. I think he's gonna barely. Yeah, he's gonna get the fear off, and then immediately after we're gonna have to get him, which is fine. You wanted to have your Prot Warrior destroy content this expansion, so I have another video coming up soon. I recorded the audio yesterday, and you know I wasn't able to upload yesterday because it can be a little math heavy. So my script was really wrong, and I mean really long, and I'm cutting out portions of it, but the way that block is scaling is really good. So once you start getting gear, Protection Warriors have the potential of being an insane tank. Only for physical damage though. Like for physical damage. When we talk about like dots and bleeds and disease effects and whatever else gets applied to you in a raid, not going to be that strong. But physical damage, I think Protection Warriors are going to shine once the end of the first tier is here and people get geared up with that first tier gear. Prot Warriors with the ability to critical block are gonna be insane. I threw my interrupt on the, I mean my AoE interrupt, but I don't have my actual interrupt anymore. Warminator, thanks for the sub. I appreciate it. I hope you are enjoying the content. But yeah, all I can tell you is that if you want to stick with your warrior, it looks like critical blocking is going to be so good. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets nerfed. I honestly wouldn't. Even then, like, critical blocking is already nerfed to how it was in live, but it seems like the amount of armor that we're getting through shields and through all of those bonuses nowadays, it seems a little high. Like they might scale back the numbers a little bit when the expansion actually drops. That guy's gonna polymorph me. Why is he here with that? Your PC updated Windows 10. The updates were pushed, changed something in your system, went from 100 to 4 to... Oh! Huh. Did your Windows 10 update automatically get rid of your... Oh, wait, no. Since it pushed a new update, you might have a new update for your drivers, for your video card. Or your DirectX, although I don't know what version of like DirectX would be optimal for World of Warcraft. I know it's a very old game, but they keep updating it slowly but surely. So maybe DirectX, maybe your video card drivers. Alright, everybody's here. Let's get this. Gotta love those Windows 10 quarterly upgrades. That means you have to turn off automatic upgrades at this point. This is your wake up call. 10 of us left our guild and put tunes into your guilds this lane to the X-Pack. Oh, geez, you're rebuilding? I mean, okay, no. Now's the time to rebuild to get ready for BfA. But if you're still trying to clear every week, it can kind of suck. I can see that. All about that Brewmaster love. Brewmasters are always going to be strong. Brewmasters are strong because of the way Stagger works. Because it allows you... Stagger allows you to recover. That's the really big thing about it, right? So when you're on progression, when something hits another tank for like 50,000, it's gonna hit Brewmasters for 5k, and then the rest of it will bleed in, right? 10% is what Stagger is, unless you like spec into it. But yeah, the way that Stagger works, what it really does, what its strong point is its ability to allow you to recover. So your Brewmaster takes a big hit, and he, you know, let's say your Brewmaster should have done something else with it. Well, it's okay. Your Brewmaster took a big hit, now has heavy Stagger. He can either try to cleanse it off, or you can just increase your heals over time on him. Maybe pop like a healing cooldown as opposed to a defensive cooldown, and you'll be okay. You'll be able to recover. So that's what Brewmasters really lend to the table, is that recovery. But once you know the fight, once you know everything to do, Brewmasters kind of lose their spot with that. But yeah, I think Brewmasters are very strong just because of the way Stagger works. With Iron Skin Brew, yeah. DK and Demon Hunters are your favorite class. You're level 69 in your DK. Is it a good idea to make and play a Demon Hunter at 70? You're a real noob. Yeah, Demon Hunters are very fun. The only thing that Demon Hunters had is, and I don't know how much you have to worry about this, is if you're gonna start doing endgame content, and I mean like heroic and mythic level dungeons. This isn't like, if all you do is do a little bit of normal dungeon crawling by using the group finder tool, so you do heroic, and you go raiding by doing this as well, so you do LFR. If that's all you do, yeah man, Demon Hunters are perfectly fine. You have nothing to worry about. Let's see if this is still bugged. I've been in here for like the past 4 times, and yeah, this guy's still bugged. This boss does not activate. RIP. Yeah man, but if since you're, you know, barely kind of starting out and stuff, if all you're gonna use your Demon Hunter for is like normal mode, LFR, maybe a little bit of heroic if you decide to start pushing yourself, Demon Hunters are fine. You miss our dance parties? Yeah, I haven't done one of those in a while. I'm sorry about that. You're worried about big magical hits. Like in Legion, at least we can stack Ignore Pains before they hit really well and then pop Spell Reflect, but IP nerfs is scary. K-Dog, it's not only IP nerfs. Yeah, this dungeon's broken. Let me hop out of here. So, something else is our current artifact weapon. Let me see if I can load it up. MMO champ. So, our current artifact weapon increases what Spell Reflect does by 20%. Okay, so current Spell Reflect in Legion is 30% of of damage mitigated. Of, yeah, 30% of spell damage mitigated. But when we look at our weapon, it increases it by another 20. So that puts us at 50%, right? So that's why our spell reflect right now is really cool. Like, hey, I'm going to be getting hit pretty hard. Let me pop my spell reflect. In BfA, that's not really going to be doing much. So let me show you. You see this talent point right here? Spell reflect reduces magical damage by an additional 20%. So we go from that baseline 30% spell reflect to 50%. Our artifact weapons are going away in BfA. So that puts our spell reflect from 50 down to 30. But in BfA, it actually got nerfed. And instead of being baseline 30, it's baseline 15. So your demoralizing shout is better at mitigating magic damage than your spell reflect, because your demo shout does 20%. So when you talk about like mitigating that magic damage, spell reflect, this is not gonna do anything anymore. You're gonna laugh at, like, when someone says just use spell reflect, you're like, demo shout's better. Come on, this is terrible. I'm gonna pop demo shout and stack my ignore pain, and ignore pain stacks up in BfA, but only 1.3 times. So currently in live Legion, ignore pain stacks up to 3 full times, right? In BfA, just 1.3. So if, like, my baseline right now on my Mythic dungeon geared Prout Warrior is 15k for an ignore pain, that means that 1.3 times that is about 20k. So that's the highest ignore pain goes. You updated all your drivers, updated everything possible, 25 hours. Oof. Just wondering how druids are now in general, choosing between monk, druids, and paladin. Any advice? Glents, if you tank like mythic pluses and raids and all that great stuff, druids are gonna be overpowered. Overpowered, man. So if you play a druid in Legion and you like how it feels and you want to feel strong like that in BfA, just roll a druid again. You have a lot of really good self-sustain. I think their DPS is a little bit lower than other classes, but I need to really test it out in endgame gear. So in endgame gear, maybe stack crit a little bit more, because you get a lot out of crit as a bear. Maybe like crit verse, and verse will increase that damage done, increase everything. So maybe if I go crit verse and I get enough gear, then I can get real heavy on the damage. So yeah, man, if you play a druid, like how it feels, stick with it. Let me actually change my key bindings too. Where is that one action bar? Here it is. Let's just do this. Nice. There it is. Do they need a tank? I don't know, Brian. Do you guys need a tank? K-Dog's wondering. Drama in the guild prohibited. Oof, yeah, man. Tuesday and Thursday heroics. Nice. Oh, and you raid on Sundays. Ready for a patrol. Let's do it. While the queue time pops up. You like everything about them, you just didn't want to pick a too difficult class. For now, you'll play solo. Yeah, Jacob, let's just say this. Last live stream, I was running a dungeon. All I did was stand in front of a group and spam swipe. I didn't use Iron Skin or Iron Fur. I didn't use like Bark Skin, Frenzied Regen. I was just spamming this, and everything was fine. I didn't die. I didn't lose aggro. So when BfA comes out, if you are gonna dungeon crawl and you're doing things that way, druids are gonna be insanely good. As far as endgame, I still think druids are gonna maintain a lot of that power, but you know, still left for me to determine because I'm not at endgame yet. What's up, Sabs? How you doing, man? Sabs, did you wake up with a ton of pain, man? I saw you in pain last night when you were trying to work through it, but that last like hour that you were on, I could tell you were just like struggling. You were struggling to stay because of that pain. So I saw you. I saw you pushing through it. You're dead? Damn. Hey Sabs, I know you said you wanted to see like WoW rating and stuff, but I don't know what your schedule's looking like today. But at 2:30 p.m., they're gonna open up the rating for the test server. So like I'm playing the beta for the new expansion right now, right? The raid testing for the new dungeon or the new raid that's gonna come out, it opens up at 2:30. But yeah, I don't know your schedule. I don't know what you're gonna be doing today. Actis, how's it going? Wasn't able to catch a previous stream? Yeah, for sure. No big deal. We all get busy with IRL. No worries. You're here now and chatting it up. You'd be here too, but you're gonna jet? Yeah, for sure, Sabs. Hey Epic, how you doing, man? Alright, gonna pop. So you guys can see that's the lunar, what is it called? Lunar strike ability? Lunar beam. That's the lunar beam ability on the ground. It's really hard to kind of see where it's at. Very, very like light texture. I wish it was a heavier texture, to be completely honest. But yeah, let's just keep going. The Colossus is dead, meaning that I'm a Guardian Druid and I can just laugh about everything and just keep doing things, right? What's up, Donabella? Welcome to the live stream. Alright, I do have to use one Frenzied Regen because this is basically a 4-pack at once. So yeah, this is when things actually start hurting me as a Guardian Druid, you know? pulling 4 at once. It's like, alright, that's a little intense. But hey, you know, like my damage taken, and also look at the meter on the left, by the way, that meter is healing done. My healing done was only this pull through 1 charge of Frenzied Regen and Ysera's Gift. That's it. That's all my healing done. Ysera's Gift, 1 Frenzied Regen. I'm topping the meters. Telling you guys, these Guardian Druids, too much for me. Druids are brutal mind? What? You have to cut your hair on weekends you spend it with your lady? Yeah, for sure, Sebs. I hear you, man. I hear you. IRL priorities. Oh no, they took that one. Got it. Oh, they're glitched right now. Every now and then these puddles are glitched. Feels bad, man. Awesome brutal? What? And Jacob, you were asking about like druids. Look, I'm by no means the best druid. I'm trying to pick this up. Oh hey, this one worked. I'm by no means the best druid, so I'm just gonna stay like this. I'm not gonna use any of that rage, and you'll see that I don't even need to use Iron Fur to stay alive. You just kind of do druid things, and as long as you're in bear form, you're good. You're good. You're a dirty rogue, and they always give you a run for your money. Something or someone's got to give you a run for your money. I haven't tried war mode enabled on a druid. I'm sure trying to kill a Guardian Druid is next to impossible, so that might be kind of interesting. I can tell you that my Prot Warrior with war mode on was a rip. Perfect. Nothing to see here, just the bear doing bear things. I'm just doing the bare necessity. Yeah. We said that. I missed the fear. That's what I get for trying to deliver that punchline. That's the Titans of Azeroth punishing me for that joke. Druid is for fight. Druids. These Druids are OP, man. I've never felt so OP as a tank. I'm telling you. Even like as a prot warrior, every time like I get a new shield, I'm like, yay, a new shield. I'm gonna feel way stronger. And I equip it, and I feel like a little bit stronger. But as a druid, it's just like bear form. That's it. It feels like a cooldown. It feels like I just use a cooldown. It's like, yeah, I'm good. Don't worry about it. I'm over here like I'm walking away from things, giving them my back, and you know, they're just tickling me. Sorry for the ignorance, but what happened with the artifact skin, Myadros? There is no in the current BfA beta, there is no character copy. So although I don't play a main Guardian Druid, so I don't have the Werebear skin. Even if I did have it, it wouldn't work right now in the beta because there's no character copy. But when the beta comes out, you'll be able to use your skins. You'll be able to use them just the same way. So yeah, you'll probably what I think will probably happen is you're gonna need to transmog your new weapon into your old artifact appearance or something. I'm not quite sure how it's gonna work out, but yeah, right now there's no character copy, so I can't really tell you this is exactly how it works. Yeah, like I have no mounts right now. I have no transmog pieces. I don't have anything right now, but they are gonna add it in later. Am I playing a bear with two hands? No, that's why every now and then I'm just like, hey, let me just take a sip over here. Alright, that is delicious. Yeah, cool, hanging out. Look at that, I don't even have to use my rage. Every now and then I'm like, oh wait, I have to do things. I have rage. That's right. Skipping WoW for the foreseeable future. Your plate tanks are lame and you hate tanking on leather. Drook, you might want to try Demon Hunter tanking. I find Demon Hunter tanking in Live Legion very fun, and actually in the BfA beta, Demon Hunter tanks are actually pretty good. Or since you want to stay with plate, DKs are still going to be OP. So DKs are what's used in the MDI to run those Mythic pluses, and DKs didn't really lose much when we're talking about the switch between current Live Legion and the beta. They really haven't lost anything. So if you like a DK, you should play it. Also, something else you might want to keep in mind is that the way that blocking works is changing in BfA. So basically, the later tiers are gonna get you better upgrades for your shield, or your blocking is gonna do a lot more in later tiers. So the impact in terms of total percentage will be greater early on, but the blocking is going to scale really well. So I think that even if Guardian Druids and even if Protection Paladins and Warriors aren't that great right now when things go live, I think that as we get gear, we're gonna scale up really well. So that stuff like shield upgrades and better plate upgrades to have better passive mitigation, you know, that's kind of, it's unfortunate, but that's how plate tanks are always gearing up, right? You get that passive physical mitigation because, hey, you wear plate, you should be able to take a hit or two, and they always do it so that a decent amount of it is passive, which means that early on in the expansion, things are really gonna hurt. Leather tanks always have really big multipliers, so they don't get affected by things as badly. Now, it is true that like every now and then they can scale just as much as we can if the multipliers are not as heavy, but those multipliers lead to gaps being closed a little bit faster. So yeah, I feel you with the pain, but after I did all of the calculations in terms of armor and how it is going to mitigate things and blocking, I can tell you that it should be scaling pretty well, man. Basically, by the end of the first raid, if you do raid Mythic, so if you don't raid Mythic, just, you know, subtract like 4% from everything. But if you raid Mythic, With a regular block, you'll mitigate like 72%, I think, of the incoming damage. And passively, I think you're like at 59 or something. So the numbers are gonna go up a lot. And then if you are playing like a prot warrior, if you have full Mythic Old Deer gear, and you even have the Old Deer shield, and you land a critical block, you'll block 80% of physical damage. So things like haste, in order to get our shield block up as much as possible, and just getting those heavy gear upgrades are going to be very good for you as a plate wearer, if you have a plate and a shield. So no DKs. Reading forum posts that bears suck for tanking and watching this is crazy. Maybe at endgame, you know, I'm not level 120 yet. Maybe at 120. I know, okay, so there has been a lot of changes to bears because they were stupid overpowered, right? The fact that a bear tank was able to solo tank Gul'dan on the hardest difficulty, on Mythic, and on progression. So it wasn't like and I'm talking about Sko specifically. It wasn't like Sko was overgeared. He was doing Mythic and pushing that progression, and he solo tanked it on a Guardian Druid. They were stupid overpowered. So in BfA, they did receive a decent amount of nerfs, but not anything that's going to make them unplayable. I believe their frenzied regen stacks regen a little bit slower now, so you have a longer cooldown. You also have a much longer cooldown on survival instincts, and then Mark of Ursal or whatever it was, that's gone. So their magic mitigation is gone in terms of one button magic mitigation. So now for their magic mitigation, they might have to pop a frenzied regen right after the magic hit, or they might need to pop a survival instincts before, or a bark skin. So magic mitigation needs to be more deliberate, but it doesn't mean that they lost it. They have plenty of things that they can do to mitigate damage. So are Guardian Druids nerfed in terms of how they were live in Legion? Yes, but they were OPAF, right? So that means that currently live in Legion, instead of being OPAF, they're above average. That's what it's going to come down to. They're above average. They're not going to be able to hopefully they're not going to be able to solo tank the last raid boss on Mythic progression, but who knows, maybe. Yeah, no problem, Edros. Brewmasters are slowly dying from stagger and no sustain. Brewmasters, I'm a little, I don't understand why they got rid of the orb generations in that Brewmasters had. I don't feel like it was too overpowered, you know. I was never thinking like, oh, the amount of orbs that these Brewmasters are generating is just insane. That needs to go away. I don't understand why that's still in the game, but they did nerf it. So part of that is because of the artifact weapons going away. A lot of classes are slowing down. The artifact trait, I don't think we all realize how OP the artifact traits made us. They made everything, you know, generate a little bit more primary resource. They made cooldowns shorter. They made this 20% stronger, that 30% stronger. So part of the impact is weapons going away, but the other portion of it is they are trying to slow down the game, and that means that they're also trying to slow down the intake of damage. First time visiting, haven't really paid much attention to Guardians since Alpha and everyone moaning about their nerfs. Do I think Guardians will see the change for the worse? No, man. They, I don't know how long you were here. I'm slowly catching up with chat. So Guardian Druids did get nerfed in comparison to how they are in Legion, but they are still a very powerful tank. So you said first time here. I have in this beta, in beta, I have a protection warrior that is geared for Mythic level dungeons, so Mythic 0 dungeons. I have a protection paladin that is heroic dungeon level geared. So I've leveled up the 2 shielded tanks. This is my first time leveling up a Guardian Druid, and it is like night and day, my friend. It is completely different how much stronger Guardian Druids are. Now, I haven't reached endgame yet. I haven't hit 120 and started grinding out for that Mythic 0 gear, but I can tell you that even just the dungeon leveling experience is completely different. I don't have to worry as a Guardian Druid. I don't have to worry about losing aggro. I don't have to worry about body pulls. I don't have to worry about my self-sustain, my self-healing. I don't have to worry about my active mitigation having certain charges. I don't have to worry about my rage generation being too low. Yeah, I don't have to worry about any of these things. I use Iron for when I have enough rage. It has infinite charges. It can stack up. The only thing that eats rage for me is Iron Fur and Maul, but you know, you don't really need to do Maul. Maul is more for a DPS thing. My Swipe and my Thrash are enough to keep everything on me with AoE. Use Mangle on cooldown. I'm also running Galactic Guardian. You don't have to though, but you can run Incarn. But yeah, there's not much that like I really have to worry about as a Guardian Druid. The only thing that kind of sucks as a Guardian Druid is you don't have an AoE stun, but you don't need it. You have Incapacitating Roar, which is an interrupt. It fears things. And here, I'm about to hop into a dungeon. Yeah, no, they're good, man. You got hundreds of thousands of gold invested on transmog. Silly as that may sound, doesn't sound that silly, Druck. I try to sell a lot of transmog. I have about, I think on my bank alt, on one of my bank alts, I have about 500 auctions going on at any moment, and it's not like any day transmog. I think the cutoff point for me is about 400 gold. If it's less than 400 gold, I just DE it. But no, man, it's, you know, keeping your transmog game. It's something that's very important. Asmongold says that that's the new end game of World of Warcraft is transmog, and I believe him. Looking good at all times is very important. I don't know if it's the most important, but it's important. You believe it sucks in the sense of gameplay, not much changes. Guardian Druids, yeah, they don't have very many changes. Things are just things take a little bit longer to recharge, but you don't even need them. Like your frenzied regen and your survival instincts are going to take a little bit longer to recharge, and that's it. I think I'll be able to survive this last tick. Come on. Hey, look, it's the first tank I can survive those ticks on. What about these horror stories of blood decays being left with no buttons to press and being starved of resources? I feel, okay, so for me to actually enjoy a certain tank, I need to constantly have something to do, right? Besides filler. Like this right here, it's just swipe, it's filler, right? No big deal. But I need something to do. Like when you play a prot warrior currently live in Legion, you're stacking up your ignore pains, you're generating rage as fast as you can. Like you're actively doing things that are gonna help you. As a blood decay, if you have over 7 charges of bone shield and you have 3 shields on cooldown actively, and yeah, like you're set. You can chill for a few seconds. So I feel like blood decays already suffer from that in live. I know a lot of people would disagree, and if you do high level Mythic Plus, you need to do a lot on a blood decay. A lot of repositioning, a lot of getting things right. But when you're raid tanking, when you're tanking just a boss on a blood decay, even live in Legion right now, if you have your bone shield going, you have enough runic power to get your death strike up, to get your active mitigation up, you have like your 3 runes on cooldown, yeah, you can kind of relax for a little bit. You can take a second or 2 off till one of your runes is about to come off of cooldown. At that point, you might want to Marrow Strike again or Heart Strike again, but you know, you still have gaps where I think blood decays are really lacking a filler. I think that's just how they play currently. I don't think there's anything different in between how they play currently and how they play in the beta. You made a prot warrior in Legion, but our toolkit was too pointless on Mythic Nighthold. Yes, not to mention you got ill, ended up quitting, so you can't approach WoW with Reckless Resolve like before. Yeah, Nighthold was not the best tier for us. I will argue with you that prot warriors were in a very bad place. I don't want to say the worst because DKs were pretty bad for Emerald Nightmare, but in Emerald Nightmare and in Nighthold, prot warriors were in a pretty bad place. A lot of heavy magic damage going out. At that point, I believe our Ignore Pain had gotten nerfed twice, maybe even the full 3 times. So, yeah, Protection Warriors were not in a good place throughout Nighthold. I hated tanking Star Augur. I hated it. Every time I would join a pug for a Nighthold, I would make sure that I would join and either Star Augur was dead or they weren't gonna go all the way to Star Augur. That was my checklist when it came to pugs in Nighthold. But once TOS came out, things were a lot better. Our tier set bonuses are really what saved us. And when Antorus came out, Prot Warriors were great. I think by the time Antorus came out, most people had already quit Prot Warriors, so not a lot of people got to see how they played. But in Antorus, how fast I would generate rage, how fast I would have an ignore pain up, how fast I would eat that rage with anger management. I have shield wall backup, demoralizing shout backup, last stand backup. It was all insane. And I think most people had already quit Prot Warriors, so nobody really got to see it. But I agree that Emerald Nightmare and Nighthold specifically, real heavy for Prot Warriors, real heavy. That magic damage was a killer. Crosis, in Crosis, if your other tank wasn't good and didn't taunt immediately when those stacks were supposed to be taunted off, you would die to those stacks. 100%. So yeah, Nighthold was rough, man. From your experience, has there been any major changes to bear tank playstyle? Things are just a little bit slower, Joe. So the rate at which your abilities recharge, like your frenzied regen and your survival instincts, those have been nerfed. I don't consider the nerf to Ironfur a nerf to Druids, because every single tank got their active mitigation nerf so that it no longer does anything other than physical damage. So all of the wording got reworked, everything got reworked for active mitigation. So I don't consider their Ironfur nerf an actual nerf, because that's just every tank. That's just the way that they want to change things this expansion. So yeah, besides the whole active mitigation thing, your frenzied regen and your survival instincts recharge slower. Survival instincts recharges a lot slower than you're used to, but you shouldn't have to use your survival instincts on every single pull. You know, just my opinion, because it's not like protection warriors can use shield wall every pull. It's not like protection paladins can guardian every pull. I don't think it's an unreasonable nerf, is what I'm trying to argue. Now, if you main a guardian druid, maybe you will say screw you and it's very unreasonable. But playing all of the other tanks, I don't think it's unreasonable to have a cooldown that's in line with everybody else, as opposed to just broken. But yeah, the playstyle is still very similar. You're gonna generate rage with your Maul. If you run Galactic Guardian, you want to prioritize your Moonfire hits. Thrash, your 3 dots of Thrash are going to have a decent return on investment for global cooldown in terms of damage done and aggro generated. Your Swipe is going to be your filler in case you never have anything else. Your Swipe and your Thrash is still going to be really good AoE pickups for dungeons, for any ads that may be... Oh god, nobody's helping me stomp these things out. Oh no! So yeah, I mean, things are still very similar. Your Ironfur still stacks up. So if you really know that there's a certain physical hit that you're going to get destroyed by, you may want to slow things down in terms of how you eat your rage, and then stack up your Ironfur 3 times before that hit goes out on you. So yeah, there's a few things you can do. But in terms of like the actual rotation and stuff, very similar. The only thing that's going to change is depending on what legendaries you ran, you no longer have those interactions. But that's for every class. Every single class, legendary is going away. When you're attacking your Prot Warrior, which class do you prefer to heal me in the beta? Holy Priest are doing really good right now in the beta. Definitely, I think so. Since Resto Druids got their healing touch taken away, I think their hot playstyle now doesn't mend well with the way that Prot Warriors are taking damage, because we take spike damage, and so you're gonna be freaking out your Resto Druid, who doesn't necessarily have that big heal going in. But it could just be the Druids that I've paired up with. I will have full disclosure in saying that I've only pugged in beta. I don't know too many other people that are playing the beta as hard as I am, especially not any healers. So I haven't gotten a healer that I actually know and I'm like, yeah, that's It's a good healer. I ran like a dungeon or two with Max, but he was Ret. But yeah, so I would need to run with another healer that I know. I think it would, yeah, I think for me it would either have to be Holy Priest or Holy Paladins. You're just hunting mounts now. You got to get the 250 mount achievement. Nice, you're almost there. 18 more is not that bad. Looks like you barely took damage. What's the damage taken numbers? Yeah, let me put up damage taken. So this isn't endgame. So as much as like I can tell you the numbers for endgame, that shouldn't really impact this. For endgame, most healers heal about anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000 healing per second. That's my average that I've seen, right? At 120. And for a tank, you want to be within that sweet spot. For a tank, you want to be between anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000 damage taken per second. And when I play my warrior, it's very hard to stay under 7,000. It's very common for my warrior to be at 10,000 damage taken per second. It's very, very common for that to happen. So I think druids are going to be at a much lower damage taken per second rate. I do also want to pop these mushrooms because this guy is going to explode them all and give everybody debuffs. Let me shockwave these right here. There it is. Right back, peeps. Yeah, for sure. Am I okay with the revert to warrior changes? What do you mean? This latest build, latest build was yesterday, and I didn't see any changes for warriors, for protection warriors going up. I saw a lot of the fury went up, but I didn't see any of the protection ones. Got your 5 million gold today? Damn, Muhammad, you are ready. You're ready to be, you're good to go, man. You're gonna be all Jurassic Parked out when BfA launches. I try to pull these guys a little bit slower because they all need to be interrupted, basically. Is this guy like fully... That Maghar Orc Mage on my team, his threat generation's crazy. Just tuning in, we think a Prot Warrior will be suitable for progression, or should I consider playing something else for the first time in 13 years? Chase, if you are progressing in Mythic rating, you should pick something else. If you are just running either normal raid or heroic raid progression, you'll be able to make it work. I think we still need a few more changes. If warriors launch the way that they are now, you'd have a very bad time and you'd be frustrated seeing all the other tanks doing all these fun things that you can't do. But with a few more changes, Prot Warriors will be fine for most of the content. When we talk about pushing Realm first, you're probably not going to want a warrior, but that was the whole story for Legion as well. If you were pushing Realm first, you probably weren't running a warrior, and if you were, I don't think there's any question about it that you would have been better off with a Guardian Druid. But yeah, it can happen. It just depends on what content you're going to see. Saved your afternoon? What's up, Sebastian? How you doing? Here's hoping Brewmasters get a second look so you can compete in higher Mythic Plus. Yeah, I think you know, there would be something to be able to make them a little bit more MDI friendly, but that's the thing too. Every tank has really good potential for Mythic Plus, and every tank can clear a plus 15. But when you take that competition and put it in the context of MDI, I think a few tanks fall by the wayside. And I think you know, we're only like considering that as being the competitive portion of it, and I think it's kind of detrimental. But when we talk about like all the other classes, every tanking class can get their plus 15 done for the week on time. There's no question about it. But yeah, once we start talking about super high keys, you know, there's very specific things that can happen. Like when you talk about the MDI, the best go-to healer is a Holy Paladin, not because of their ability to heal, but because of their ability to heal really well and their ability to push out really good deeps. So, you know, MDI kind of skews things. And then like the qualifiers for MDI, when people were running dungeons over and over again to meet certain time trials, the biggest tank that was used was Demon Hunters because of their mobility. So I think most tanks, as long as they maintain the ability to be able to compete in that plus 15 setting and be just fine, like as long as they're not struggling to get a plus 15 done, I think that's okay. Will we always see a premier tank in the MDI? Yeah, but that's, you know, the tip-top performance. Holy Paladin for the win. You may be biased for some reason. Oh, Holy Paladins are insane, man. They also have a talent point in this build. Let me actually start healing myself. Holy Paladins have a build now where they're kind of like Disc Priesty, where they turn on a buff, and for the next few seconds, their DPS will actually heal everybody in an AoE. So Holy Paladins are gonna get some really cool utility. Oh, my healer's dead. I was wondering, I was like, why am I going down? That has something to do with it. Basically, you can't damage this boss. Like this boss basically spawns ads, and then those ads, when they die, they do 10% damage to him. So you have to kill the ads, and it's these big ads right here, the blood visages. If you run heroic, there's other small ads, which is why I say big ads, but yeah, you don't see the small ads right now because this isn't heroic. But yeah, in terms of like, look, I didn't need a healer. I was good. Guardian Druids are just fine. I just got my other Charge of Frenzy regen back up too. I didn't use Bark Skin, no survival instincts. That was good. Guardian Druids. You were bored as hell, now you're here? Good, man. They're gonna be so tiny and cute. Oh, 3 baby rats today. Nice. And what's up, Chaos? Welcome. And New Era. How you doing, man? LFR or LFG at 2:30 p.m. in 1.5 hours they are opening up LFR window, the first LFR area of the new raid. So yeah, LFR in an hour and a half. There's nothing right now, but in an hour and a half they get LFR opening up, the first wing of LFR. That's what I meant to say. Seeing them go back to Legion style feels like they ran out of time to do work on Prot Warriors. I agree, Mike. I agree. I think they were like pushing out their development cycle really fast, and then it came time to like get rid of artifact weapons for tanks, and then they did the global cooldown change. I think that's the thing that screwed over most tanks. Global cooldown change, because tanks need to hit and protect at the exact same time, right? You need to shield slam and ignore pain at the same time. You can't have like this global cooldown getting in the way, or else you're dead. So I think like this whole global cooldown change, they were like, let's do it, and I don't think they necessarily took into account what was going to happen to all of the tanks. How come I can't shoot them? Huh. So yeah, I don't think they necessarily took everything into account, and all of a sudden you have these other tanks who ended up pretty damn weak. Let me try the temple run. So I think that they're reverting to Legion, and they're also undoing like the global cooldown change is slowly going away for tanks. They've taken a few like of the major defensive cooldowns off of the global cooldown. They've taken a few like your interrupt. I think Spell Reflect is off of the global cooldown now. So they're slowly undoing all of these changes, and I think it's impacting tanks the most. So I don't think they foresaw like how much of an impact it was going to have to take away our artifact weapons abilities. For tanks, they provided a ton of mitigation too. You had like plus 20% more on this defensive, plus 10% more on that one. You had all these really cool things, and then they just undid too many things. And then specifically for Prot Warriors, they also did a ton of other changes. They decreased rage generation, they increased rage spending, and they got rid of Ignore Pain. Couple that with taking our artifact weapon away and hitting us with the global cooldown. It was way too much for the Protection Warrior. So they're slowly reverting the Protection Warrior back to how Legion was. I agree. I don't think they saw all of the 1,000 cuts that they did to a warrior. You were playing WoW and you saw that I was online. Goodbye, WoW. Cool, man. Thanks for joining. Zandalar and Dark Iron will not be available until Exalted. Yeah. Oh, with the PvP faction? Oof. Do I think that tank based on beefiness like Bear rather than self-healing or a minimum damage taken per second can ever be competitive in high Mythic Plus? Yes. Yes, I do, Nikolai. So, you have a tank that's super beefy like a Bear, and you're not worried too much about like self-healing or minimum damage taken per second. You're just a giant bucket of health. You can compete in the Mythic Plus because every tank has big defensive cooldowns. So you pull a giant pull. If you have enough good cleavers behind you, if you have, at the moment, Windwalker monks are the meme, right? So if you have 3 Windwalker monks behind you, you get this giant AoE pull. You can start staggering your big defensive cooldowns with your big HP pool, and then your healer starts doing offensive healing abilities, or I guess defensive healing abilities, stuff that increases his healing per second, and you're gonna stay at a really nice, comfortable place. So I do think that they have a place, but like Blood DKs are it's hard to compete with the Blood DK in Mythic Plus when we talk about the MDI, because the Blood DK can basically do what they want in a dungeon, right? So you have a Blood DK who can reposition things whenever they want. Also a Blood DK whose healing per second is insane. Also that Blood DK has the best magic mitigation in the game with AMS. And not only do they mitigate the magic damage, they absorb it and they turn it into output for themselves. So it's hard to compete with the Blood DK. Also because Mythic Plus affixes, you have stuff like, you have Sanguine, you have Skittish, you have Raging, you have Necrotic. Like, Blood DKs can ignore Necrotic. How crazy is that? One of the hardest affixes to deal with. They just say, yeah, I don't care. Every 45 seconds, I can drop the stacks. No big deal. I can do one crazy stupid pull every other pull because I have AMS and I can get rid of Necrotic. Oh, you have Sanguine and you have Casters? I can grasp them. And I have 2 grasp. I have my regular Death Grip and I have Gorfine Grasp. So I can move mobs twice, So you have Sanguine and a Caster? Yeah, no big deal. I can move it. So I think that kit specifically is what makes Blood DKs the go-to MDI tank. We need to schedule dance parties? I am down for scheduling dance parties. So I haven't done this dungeon today either, but you guys are going to see that the pulls on this dungeon are actually going to be the most insane pulls. Because there's no one mob that's like... There's only one room where I have to watch out because the mobs can heal and they need to be interrupted. But in most other dungeons, you have like a healer here or somebody who gains a buff over time, so it's going to get a little insane. So all the other dungeons, I've been doing big pulls, but I can't go as, big as I'd like. But for this dungeon, the pulls are going to get big, man. As long as you have the ability to do the first raid as a Zandalari, it'll all be good. I think you should be able to. You should be able to hit that before, because the first raid is probably going to take like... once BfA launches August 14th, I would say late September is probably going to be the first raid. If not mid-September, but they're going to give us Mythic Plus first. So before you can even jump into the first raid, you're probably going to be able to clear like a Mythic +3, +4, maybe even a +5. We'll see. How is the threat reduction for tanks going to affect affix and Mythic Plus like Skittish? It's going to suck. It's just going to suck. On my protection warrior right now, when I run a Mythic 0, it's hard for me to maintain AoE threat. I have a Thunderclap that's on a 6-second cooldown, and I have a Revenge that costs 30 Rage. I want to use that Rage for Ignore Pain or Shield Block, but if I use that Rage for a Revenge, my Ignore Pain generation has been nerfed so bad that I can't do both. I have to make a choice. Do I want to pick up these guys, or do I want to mitigate the damage? Like, do I want to pick up these guys, or do I want to use Shield Wall and pick up these guys, or maybe just use my damage mitigator, let my DPS take a hit? Like, these are like really bad choices that you have to make on certain tanks. Now, you guys see me here on my Druid. No big deal. My healer just got here. That was like a good 15-20 seconds without a healer, and I pulled 4 trash pulls at once. No big deal. I was able to heal myself, keep myself alive. I used my Lunar Beam. I used my 2 charges of Frenzied Regen. No big deal. So certain classes, their AoE threat and their ability to stay alive is gonna suffer. Certain other classes, not that bad. Guardian Druids also have like way better healing. The filler for Guardian Druids is an AoE. Your swipe is a 8-yard AoE around you. Not every class has that. Like Demon Hunters. If you tank on a Demon Hunter, Skittish is not really going to be that detrimental to you. You Infernal Strike, you get a Fiery Sigil on the ground, you have Immolation Aura, you Soul Cleave, you Spirit Bomb. Like, all these things are AoEs. No big deal. Alright, we have a res pending too, so I'll stop. I'll slow it down. We can get a res up. That's fine. The Vengeance Demon Hunter tank in BfA, it'll be fun in Mythic Plus. Yes, Gyuri, it'll be very fun in Mythic Plus, and in raids, it depends. If you are Mythic raiding, I can't honestly suggest a Demon Hunter tank for you. If all you do is like LFR and normal, you're good. Demon Hunter tanks are going to be just fine. If you do Heroic, it's still up in the air. I think Heroic is going to be very dependent on the Azerite traits, so that one we don't know yet because they're changing Azerite traits like every build. So I can't tell you these are the Azerite traits. If they keep the Azerite traits the same, you'll be good. You'll be good on Demon Hunter for up to Heroic rating. As far as Mythic dungeons, they've always been good, man. Demon Hunters are really fun in Mythic dungeons. They get a lot of like their self-healing going. Their Spirit Bomb debuff is basically a leech. So, you know, you're running around applying your leech to everything. You got a good Soul Cleave going. You have good Soul Fragment generation. So yeah, you're good. If you run Mythic Pluses, there's no issue. It's in raids where they get kind of hit a little bit harder. The only artifact weapon appearance you don't have is a PvP one. I just got that one on my Demon Hunter in live not that long ago, and I like it. I like the way it looks. Had to grind that out. Hey bud, you had to get a brand new computer today and you lost all your games, Chris. Ouch. The good news, Chris, is that all of your Blizzard games are tied to your launcher. So all you need to do is download the launcher and log in, and then just hit download on all of them and you'll be good, man. You'll just walk away from your computer for a little bit. Thinking of doing Vengeance Demon Hunter in BfA. That's going to be my second tanking choice. So I'm going to level up my Protection Warrior and a Vengeance Demon Hunter to see how they're both going to perform for the first raid tier. And then I'll see what my choice is going to be once I get geared up enough to do that first raid. You hate when you get a new PC, you have to install and download everything from scratch. Yeah, I think the most difficult part isn't even the games. It's like the little settings, the little quality of life things that you had. Like oh man, I just have a new computer, I have to download Chrome. Oh wait, I had that one extension that did the one thing. Let me download that. And then, you know, with the Twitch app nowadays, maintaining your add-ons, no big deal. But before it was like, what add-ons did I have in WoW? Let me try to download those again. Yeah, I also have. I had something running whenever the computer would run that would do this and that. Like those are the little things that when you get a new computer, you're like, this is annoying. Which tank has the most potential to show off how MLG you are? Demon Hunters. Demon Hunters, man. Whenever you do an Infernal Strike on the ground in front of you, you shift into like a temporary little meta, so you gain wings at that exact moment. You can go full Metamorphosis and just look like a crazy demon. And then you can also like get leech going with your Spirit Bomb. Every time you absorb all of these soul fragments around you with Spirit Bomb and with Soul Cleave, you do all these sick animations. You're like twirling around everywhere. You're playing an elf, so if you play on Alliance, you're playing a Night Elf, which means that when you jump every now and then, you do a front flip or a back flip. If you play a Belf, they have different weapon animations. Rizabot, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Best Wu-Tang member. It showed a blue screen and then shut off. Ouch. You're gonna have to download a new collection, Chaos. Yeah, that's also one of the downfalls of a new PC. It's like now I need to make a new folder named Internet Explorer and change its icon again so nobody digs in there. It's just too much of a trouble. Not that I know that's how to hide stuff. This guy is going around. There it is. Going right across the battlefield. Oh! How did he not... Wait, how did that guy not get hit? No. He got hit. No big deal. Taking the boss down. There it is. Give me an upgrade. There's a really cool weapon that comes from here. The weapon I have equipped right now. Look at that. That weapon comes from this dungeon. Pretty cool. It looks very similar to the Alliance polearm that they got in Trial of the Crusader. From, I believe it was the last boss, Anubra Khan. Yeah, that was a really cool polearm. Really cool glaive looking polearm. There's a lot of magic damage going out, so you guys can see I'm actually getting hit and taking damage. Let me pop my own heal, because then I'll just laugh. And look at that. My frenzied regen, and it's like, yep, I'm good. No big deal. All that damage goes away. Alright, let's play Super Mario Brothers with the fire leashes. That's when an external comes in handy. There it is. Pro tips today, pro tips. And you guys aren't PvP fans? They're changing the way that PvP works. Although not really. I don't know about this whole war mode situation. I think the one of the biggest downfalls that PvP and Legion had was the fact that in PvP you have some abilities, and then in PvE you have different abilities. You don't have the PvP ones anymore. And I think that can kind of ruin PvP, because you start building up muscle memory, and all of a sudden you have to build up muscle memory for PvP and then different muscle memory for PvE. Like it's kind of weird saying you have to learn one class but with 10% of their toolkit on or off depending on where you're standing and what you're fighting. It's kind of weird. Do I recommend a global cooldown timer add-on for BfA? You haven't used one forever. Nerds, you don't need to use a global cooldown add-on. You see this thing right here in the middle of my screen? That's just a weak aura, and the weak aura tracks my global cooldown. So you don't need to overburden your resources with like a crazy amount of add-ons. You can just make a weak aura for it, or I can share this one. This weak aura, like I made it, and it's just, that's my global cooldown. Very, very in the middle of my screen. It doesn't take up too much space. Just kind of like swipes across. But if you want to have like a different add-on for it, you can. I do suggest it though. I very highly suggest it. Although you're playing Holy Paladin, so I can't see an instance where it's gonna hit you too much. The only time where it's really gonna hit you is if you Holy Shock and then instantly proc another free Holy Shock, or you're gonna Light of the Dawn followed by a Holy Shock immediately after. But that interaction already has global cooldowns in Legion, so I don't think you have to. Your playstyle, you're not gonna have to adapt to anything. I think it's gonna be very similar. But once you start playing Prop Paladin, yeah, it's gonna hit you, because you might want to pop Light of the Protector, and that's on the global cooldown, along with your filler, along with your Avenger Shield, along everything else. So yeah, there's certain cases. Guys, I'm dying because I have almost 40 stacks of this debuff. I'm actually taking damage. I want to keep taking more damage. Give me this damage. I want to get up to like 40. I only got up to 35. Any idea how they're going to implement bear and feral forms to BfA? My guess would be that when you go to the transmog person, I'll show you guys this in a little bit. Whoops. Okay, I did replace the right one. When we go to the transmog person, you're going to have your artifact weapons with the colors right there. With the skin colors. So that's going to be my guess. Because right now when you log into the BfA and you go to a transmog vendor, he has your old artifact weapons there as a transmog selection. So I think you're going to have to transmog into your artifact appearance to get that certain artifact weapon skin. That Mage Tower skin. They changed a little, but still implies into being ganked for what a rogue would in open world. Yes. Yeah, the PvP thing. I don't know, man. I think they need to take a firm looking at this whole PvP talent points and PvP abilities. Just not doing it for me. I should be able to just take my exact character and walk into a battleground and do the things that I already do in that battleground. This whole like separation, kind of weird. I don't like it. I need to set up key bindings that are only going to be for PvP, that are not like, they're not focus only macros, right? In PvP, if you do serious arena, you need focus target macros, but in this one, it's like you need macros for things that do completely different things, like completely new buttons. Are you guys, by the way, excited for War Fronts? I gotta tell you, I've done the testing 3 times now, and then this last time that they did the testing, I didn't jump into it. I unfortunately don't find War Fronts very fun. To me, they just seem like, if you guys ever played in old vanilla, Burning Crusade, or maybe even Wrath of the Lich King, depending on how you played, there was these PvE quests that you could do for Alterac Valley. That would give you stuff like the Ice Barb Spear, your Stormpike Trinket that would teleport you back to be able to defend. There was all these things that you could do in Alterac Valley that were PvE, and War Fronts to me are that. They are the PvE Alterac Valley experience. Only that. Like there's no actual PvP. There's nothing else you can do. So exactly what you did for those like 1 or 2 levels that you were gearing up, trying to get your druids fed, or trying to summon the giant god that was on your side of Alterac Valley. That's what War Fronts are to me. They're just that. If Alliance somehow got Lightforge Undead race, would I switch to a Holy Brittle Bones or Standard Brittle Bones? Oh, man. Okay. So with my experience, and I don't want anyone to get offended. With my experience, I played Alliance for a very long time. I played Alliance since Burning Crusade. And when I played the little bit of vanilla that I did play, I didn't play endgame, but the little bit of leveling vanilla that I did play, I wanted to be Horde, and then all my IRL buddies were like, no, we're all going Alliance. We know people here, we're gonna get a guild. Cool. Went Alliance, and when Legion came out, I started pugging Mythic Pluses, and it was bad. And then as soon as I went Horde, my pugs got better. So I probably won't be switching back to an Alliance main. I have a Blood DK that I played a little bit in Legion, got geared up just a little bit. But even then, I would get much better pugs as a Horde, and that's even in Legion. That was true. I would be very reluctant to go back to Alliance. If I were to go Alliance, I'd have to go back Alliance with people that I already raid with. I'd have to go with people that I know their potential, I know what they can do. So if my whole guild was like, hey, let's go Alliance, then I probably would. But in order for me to like go main Alliance, probably not. I have an Alliance character, that Blood DK, and you know, try to maintain that at a decent level so that I can see the content on a different tank and on a different faction. But yeah, probably not my main. Horde Master Faction for life. You're out for the war fronts. You suck on any strategy gaming. It's not. Strategy makes war fronts last less. They make your war fronts faster, but it's very, very, very difficult to lose a war front. What can I compare it to? It's like failing at the Legion Broken Isle scenario. You know what I mean? Like there's that Broken Isle scenario where, spoiler alert, God, I forgot the Paladin's name. Anyway, Paladin gets completely nuked by Giant Demon Man. Failing that scenario is very difficult. Even now, when you level up a new character and you select the wrong option, and you're the only one in that scenario, it's very, very difficult to fail that scenario. Failing Warfronts is almost as difficult as failing that scenario. You envy these bears 100% uptime active mitigation. I know, Actus. I completely agree with you. And it's insane. Like my standard armor is 1500, right? Iron Fur does 1400. Iron Fur does basically what a shield does. My current live protection warrior has that his gear and his shield have very similar armor values. Like if we look at raids, Old Deer, at the end of Old Deer, I think protection warriors have like 9,000 armor. And if we look at the shield warrior, the shield has, oh, for mythic mode, you have about 10,000 or 9,000. The shield has 8,000. Your shield is almost as much armor as you completely have. Armor here is 1500. Iron Fur is 1300. Iron Fur is the same thing as a shield block. It's the same thing, but for some reason they don't have any charges. I don't understand why. And they changed the way that blocking works in this expansion, so but for some reason they're like, no, Druids get to use it all the time. If they do that, Lightforge, you want Zandalari Paladin? I don't see why not. They can just edit, you know, sprinkle the lore up a little bit. You're out. Warfronts are no fun, Riot. They're, you know, for some people are really gonna enjoy them. Not for me. Not for me. They're just, if they have like very specific gear rewards that are gonna look awesome, I'm gonna do them and I'm gonna get those rewards. But you know, anything besides that probably won't be. Oh hey, I can shoot them now. It's working. Why do we need a global cooldown weak aura in BfA and not in Legion? Won't we get used to global cooldown on certain abilities like we always have? Yes, but for the first like few months, you probably won't be used to it. So for the first little bit of raiding and the first little bit of doing all that stuff, your global cooldown is going to be changing that. Also, it's also good to kind of just see that, because even in vanilla, if you really want to min-max all of your things, in vanilla, a lot of people had, and people still to this day in Legion, they have swing timers. Now a swing timer is going to provide only a very minimum amount of increased gameplay or increased rewards from evaluating your swing timers, and a global cooldown weak aura is going to be the same. Like, you can do it and it'll make you better, but how much better? It's like, you know, you can argue that it's gonna be more work than anything. If you raid at a really high level, you can probably get a little bit more out of it than if your content is just, you know, a little easier. So depending on what type of player you are, stuff like tracking your global cooldown or your swing timers, you know, those things are all arguable. Go away. Go away. Got him. The faction balance really hits hard. It's, I don't know if it's the people on the exact shard that I had, maybe the people just on my server, because I know my alliance server, before I went Horde, my alliance server took a really big tumble. Like, a lot of the, I believe, so I used to raid there in Wrath of the Lich King, and in Cataclysm and in MoP, the top like 5 guilds left the server. So I think that might have something to do with it, but LFG is cross realm. So I don't know. Qualities were just different. Tyrion, yes, Tyrion. It's kind of like failing that scenario with Tyrion. What is my thought on ally top guilds switching to Horde? It makes sense. It sucks, but it makes sense. That's why all of the like super top end guilds in vanilla were Horde, because of bloodlust and racials. Like, it is what it is. It kind of sucks, but it makes sense. If you're pushing realm first, 2 and 3 and 4% increases to anything, damage taken, damage done, whatever it is, healing, whatever it is, those small little increases matter because you're pushing realm first. Like, you have to basically penny pinch all of your percentages at that point. Your guild is fighting heroic Argus right now, only after spending 2 nights on Agrimar. Coven took 4 weeks. Nerds, yes it does. Coven progression is by far one of the worst things because it's very RNG based. Very RNG. And that RNG makes it so that the learning curve is way bigger. So basically, play bear if you want more performance, but play warrior if you want more fun. I wouldn't argue that warrior is the most fun. I think if you want like a really fun active tank that's like just constantly doing things, a demon hunter. I think if you find having a shield and like charging into battle fun, and that's the only thing that'll make tanking worth it for you, I think warriors are in a place right now where they can make things work, but I don't think anyone will argue the point that warriors are below average. Like, can warriors do the content? Yes, but they are more heavily gear dependent, and the global cooldown change hurts them to the point where it can lead to moments of frustration when other tanks don't have that same frustration. Protection warriors are definitely below average. Now, I understand that someone always has to be below average and someone always has to be above average. That's just what you get when you have a list of things. But I think the discrepancy is a little too much. I think they're a little too far below average when we look at the numbers of damage taken and how good they mitigate damage and all that. If you pull up a very specific chart with very specific numbers, can prot warriors exceed? Probably, because they're good physical damage mitigators, but they need everything to go right. They need to have the right amount of rage. They need to have the right global cooldowns off of cooldown. They need to have the right defensives up. So it's a lot of what ifs. But yeah, I feel like if you want fun and if you want a really high active tank, demon hunters. If you want a tank that is always going to be good on progression, and it's going to make it so that you don't necessarily need to farm out gear as long as any other tank, Guardian Druid. Guardian Druid is going to be less gear dependent. 1.5 on Agrimar, to be honest. Oh, instead of 2 nights, 1.5 weeks. Agrimar is not too bad. But the difficult thing with Coven, Heroic Coven, is you have all of these debuffs going out, right? You have the fire debuff, which is going to make someone blow up, and then you have the storm debuff as well. A lot of times these two things stack up, and in order for your whole raid group to be ready, they need to see the mechanics, right? Your DPS isn't going to know how to choose where to stand in the storm with a fire debuff until it happens to that exact DPS. So since all of these things go out in random, and you can have anywhere between like 10 to 25 people, even more honestly, but most raid groups are going to be between 10 and 20 if you're running Heroic. So you have all of this random RNG, and you could be 20 pulls into Coven, and it's the first time this specific DPS gets the fire debuff and the storm goes out at the same time. They've never seen this. They don't know how to deal with it. They run that fire debuff straight into everyone else and they blow up. Or maybe they have seen the fire debuff and the storm, but you also have the electric adds up as well with the small AoE around them. It's a lot of little things that make it very difficult for everyone to be able to adapt. Like trying to get everyone on the same page to be able to deal with any one of 1 to 3 debuffs, it's gonna take a lot of pulls, So that's the part of Coven that was like, it's way too much RNG. How is my whole raid group supposed to get used to all this if they have no idea? Coven seems like murder on pug groups. Yep. Yes, it does. I honestly didn't do too much pugging of Heroic and Taurus, and that was on purpose, because you need a lot of really good things. Even just on high command, you need 6 pugs that can do pods. You don't need, like in normal and LFR, you need 1 person that can do pods. In Heroic, that goes from 1 person to 6 people. And if you run a 10-person pug, most of the people in your pug need to know what to do inside of pods. It's one of those things. It's like this can get real rocky, real rough if we don't have the perfect numbers. If we have, you know, it's a big learning curve. Storm of Darkness plus Wall and Fire Sword Tornado. Yeah, it's a lot of like random things that come flying at you. And even though you kill Coven 1 week, if you killed Coven 1 day, the next raid day you might not be able to kill it again. You might spend like 2 or 3 hours wiping on it, and then you have to just be like, no, we're done with Coven. Like, this is nope. I think even though a class isn't busy as another, knowing how and when to use all their abilities in ways not thought of is fun. I agree. So like Blood DKs have a lot of that, right? Blood DKs have a lot of their abilities that they can use in fun ways. AMS gives you a full runic power bar if you fail at a mechanic on purpose. So finding those mechanics that are easily avoidable and running into them on purpose to pop AMS and get that runic power return so that you can follow things up with a few death strikes, that's interesting, and that'll lead to interesting gameplay. Like when I did Crosis, there was a few times that I was pugging Crosis, and the DK tank would stand in the beam on purpose to gain resources. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of interesting ways. Even Protection Warriors, a lot of people don't use Intervene for Protection Warriors to actually absorb hits. Well, I found out that on Agrimar, if you intervene your co-tank and you take those auto attacks, you also take additional stacks of the Agrimar debuff. So you don't want to use it that way. But, you know, there's certain ways that you can play certain tanking classes. I think the ones that have most options are prop paladins, because you can Blessing of Sacrifice your off tank during like scythes on Argus or something. Like you can do a lot of things. You can lay on hands, you can bop certain people. So I think Protection Paladins have the biggest potential of doing that kind of thing. Was that BOE? No. Okay. I agree, because as a tank in Antor and High Command, people would pop shields, although the off tank, yes, I saw that a lot. So I didn't pug Heroic Antorus because Heroic Antorus, I think, had the biggest scale change from normal to heroic. Like, normal was not bad. Normal Antorus, not bad at all. You switch it onto heroic, and all of a sudden, you need everybody to know all the things. In normal Antorus, you could carry a few people. No big deal. And then all of a sudden you get to heroic, and it was a big change. Mythic has always been, you know, you don't carry people in Mythic. Everybody needs to carry their own weight in Mythic. So Mythic has never been that way, but the difference between normal and heroic Antorus was big, and the amount of people required to be aware and to know all of the mechanics and know everything that was happening. We're not going back to farm Coven because it's not worth farming. Yeah, no, you get shoulders out of it, which is cool. But if you farm normal enough, you're going to get a Titan Forge that's just as good as heroic. So, yeah, you don't need to go back in there and run it. Which tank would go well with a Demon Hunter in with BfA? Vengeance co-tank? As a Vengeance, let's see. You've got... So, Vengeance is really good at AoE. Like, if there's ever a fight with AoE pickup, Vengeance is going to Infernal Strike. They have Sigil of Chains. They have Sigil of Fire. Sigil of Silence as well. They have Immolation Aura. So, they're really good at AoE pickups. So, if you have a DK tank for a little bit more solo, their Death and Decay might be off of cooldown. Maybe their Blood Tap or their Blood Boil. But I think Demon Hunters go well as an off tank to most other tanks. I would say if you really want to maximize everything, probably a Brewmaster. Brewmaster or a Paladin tank that doesn't pick up Blessed Hammers. Like a Paladin tank with Redoubt or Holy Shield, which most of the times when you're raiding, that's what they're going to have. But that Paladin tank is going to provide that Lay on Hands, that Bop, that Blessing of Sacrifice when they're not active tanking to make up for the Demon Hunter's lack of cooldowns. But also a Brewmaster Monk is going to be really good at those single target hits. There's going to be, the boss is going to do a giant single target hit. Hey, I can stagger it, no big deal. The boss is going to drop, you know, 30 new adds that we need to pick up. Yeah, the Brewmaster might suffer a little bit, a lot of really small hits as well for the stagger. Like, hey, you know what? Why don't we get the Demon Hunter to pick that up? Drop a Sigil of Chains, Sigil of Fire, go in there, Infernal Strike, start kiting things even. They're really good at kiting. So, yeah, I think either Brewmaster or Paladin. Gotta get some food for sure, nerds. We have used a Paladin, DK, and Druid next to our Demon Hunter, and all of them have done well as long as they know what they're doing. Yeah, the Demon Hunters really shine with their whole thing always being cleaving, always being AoE. So let's say we go back in time and we have Zulaman as current content, and you have the Dragonhawk boss that summons a ton of adds. Demon Hunters would have destroyed in that fight. They could pick up all of those Dragonhawks and position themselves in time for a bomb perfectly fine. They would not suffer one bit doing all of that. So depends on the fight, man. But I would suggest that I would say that monks and paladins are probably going to be the best for that, since they can offer a little bit back to the Demon Hunter, or if not, they can plug the holes that the Demon Hunter might have with single targets and big cooldowns for those single targets. Arguably Protection Warriors too. It's hard for me to recommend Protection Warriors in their current state. So if next build sees a brand new build of Protection Warriors that has a few changes, then yeah, Protection Warriors as well. Right now, how they are right now, don't. Let's not. You're wanting to go Prot Warrior with your Demon Hunter co-tank. This was the first expansion where you're going to tank during Mythic progression and you're not wanting to hold the guild back. Lugs, I agree with you. So the main reason why I'm going to level up 2 tanks in BfA is because this is the first expansion I go into it having a guild. Normally I get a guild halfway through the expansion, maybe one raid tier in. This is the first expansion I'm going in knowing who I'm raiding with, and because of that, because I'm not going to be pugging, I don't want to stress out my healers. I think it would be unfair for me to play a class that underperforms by as much as warriors are right now. So I'm going to be leveling up my warrior and my demon hunter, and then by the time I'm geared up for the first raid tier, I'm going to see where I'm sitting at with both of them. Warriors are very gear dependent in terms of their performance and their active mitigation at all times. So hopefully we see a few more changes. If we see a few more changes, my warrior right now in the beta is geared up to start doing old deer. I am mythic dungeon geared. I could use a few more upgrades arguably, and I'll probably go out and get those few more upgrades, but I will let you know if warriors feel good for going into a raid. Like right now, my warrior, if I had to walk into a raid with my current warrior, I would feel really bad for my healers. Really bad for them. I'd be like, oh man, sometimes I have to use my global cooldown on just ignore pain, and my AoE pickup's not going to be that great, or my threat generation at that point is going to go down. So I would feel bad for them. So I'm going to level up both of them. I'm going to keep you guys up to date. I probably am going to do 1 or 2 more protection warrior videos, but I'm gonna wait for new builds. So at this point, later on next month we get pre-patch, right? Next month we get pre-patch for Battle for Azeroth in our Legion servers. So they need to finish the protection warrior between now and next month. So we have 4, arguably 4, maybe up to 6 new builds of the BfA build to see how protection warriors are going to end up. Here, let me heal this guy as well. Alright, we're doing all the things. We used to have Paladin and DK next to your Demon Hunter. Yeah, it's all about the individual person as well. Like if you're wanting to pick up someone who has never tanked before and they want to tank on a protection warrior, it's like, you've never tanked before, don't pick the hardest tanking class at this moment. And I don't mean hard as in like, it's just if you know the whole warrior kit in and out, you can make it work, but even then you're performing subpar. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna let you guys know everything that just keeps happening to the protection warrior. Nice. Like this whole guardian druid thing, I feel like it's easier for me to dungeon crawl than for me to go quest. I'm just spamming dungeons. Let me log on my warrior and actually do a mythic dungeon. Or I can actually, I'm overgeared for mythic. I mean, I'm overgeared for heroic. I can run a heroic on my warrior, and you guys will see that it's an uphill battle. Why am I still in combat? I want to loot. I'm gonna get an upgrade here. There it is. No upgrades. I did upgrade my Heart of Azeroth, so I might have some new traits. You have a DK and a Brewmaster on Horde side available along with your Prout Warrior. Brew seems cool, but you hate how little self-sustain they have. Their self-sustain is also getting nerfed a little bit. So like right now in live, you generate orbs a decent amount because of your artifact weapon. Artifact weapon is going away and the orb respawn is being redesigned. You basically spawn 1 orb to be able to detoxify and heal yourself at the same time. You spawn 1 orb whenever you take 100% of your HP as damage. So yeah, you need to take all that as damage. And if you spec into that orb spawning, you basically spawn 1 orb every 50% or something like that. You spawn 2 per full HP bar. I forget how exactly it's worded. Maybe I have to like leave this area and then come back, and then I can scare them. So yeah, they're losing a little bit of self-sustain. But the thing is, Brewmasters paired up with a healer have always been ridiculously strong, and they're gonna keep being ridiculously strong if you have a pocket healer. Alright, let me see if logging out works now. We got a new build yesterday, so maybe I can actually log out instead of having to force quit the whole game. Come on, Blizzard, you can do this. You can do this. You've only been developing the logout button for like 15 years. It's fine. Come on. You got this. Ooh, we can log out. Oh, I've got an ugly untransmogged helmet. Oh, let me show you guys the whole transmog thing, because you guys were asking about transmog appearances, and specifically like Druid ones. Where is my... Here. Let me go to Orgrimmar. Transmog. I don't actually know where the transmog guy is here in Zuldazar. I know that there has to be one because there's one in the Alliance area. Just don't know where he is. Giant pyramid. Oh no, aren't Jesus coming through? There we go. That's a little bit better. We also have the LFR raid testing starting in 50 minutes. So we'll be doing that probably on my Prot Warrior, to be honest. I did the raid testing for normal and heroic on my Prot Warrior. Heroic was a little bit rough, but that's when both of those raid testings were when Bolster was here on the global and everything, and yeah. So when it comes to doing the artifact weapon appearances, this is, I think, how it's going to happen. This is my artifact weapon right here. This is my artifact shield. That's the base one. So I think all of the skins and all of the recolors are going to be here. Maybe even like a little drop menu where I can just select it and select the color of it. But that's the shield, and then my artifact weapon is this. But it's a combination of these two, so I can have my artifact weapon going. But yeah, it's just another option here. There we go. Look at that. So right now, which tank does the best single target DPS? I haven't tried DPS. I don't know the answer to that question. You're guessing Blood DK? I don't know. I think Blackout combo for monks got nerfed a little bit, so I think they're out of the running. Warriors don't have their tier step bonus anymore. That was the one thing that was keeping our single target threat, single target DPS up there. But yeah, I don't know. All right, so this is item level 326, right? So when I go into a dungeon that is heroic gear is 325. So at this point, I can no longer receive, at least not very many upgrades from running heroics. I think like my gloves are really shitty, but besides that, I can't receive that. So I'm mythic. I'm ready for this 340 mythic level gear. Let's see how many people are running dungeons, because right now there's mythic raid testing going on, so I don't think it's too many. I think a lot of people are going to be with it, mythic raid testing. Mythic raid testing is for another 15 minutes. All they need is another deeps. Are we going arms? A few heroic mode dungeons. Alright, let me queue up for a heroic dungeon that I'm gonna be out gearing. So we'll see how much damage I'm taking in that. I can use upgrades for gloves. That's it, just my gloves. And my Heart of Azeroth is really underleveled, because right now gaining Azerite is actually pretty damn hard. I don't understand why. Any good world quests going on? They also added the dungeon world quests already, so you can start doing those and getting heroic rewards. Let me see if I can find one that has a heroic reward. Most of them seem like they're just 310. Yeah, I don't know if there's any heroic dungeon rewards are gonna be worth it. I saw 2 regular dungeon rewards. Here's another. Oh no, this is a world boss. Starts at 310. She can't be soloed. I've already. I think she had like a weapon upgrade for me once. Yeah, not very many heroic dungeon rewards. There's also new islands and stuff. Also, something else that did change for Protection War is this build, and it's barely introduced. Let me show you guys this way. They increased the damage of Dragon Roar, so now Dragon Roar does twice as much damage as my Shield Slam, so it hits hard as hell. The cooldown is now 35 seconds instead of 25, and now it generates 10 rage. So didn't necessarily have to generate rage. I would have been okay with it without it, but now it does. It generates rage. Prop Paladins are still #1. They're very strong, man. So far in BfA, Protection Paladin is king of the hill, but based on what I'm showing, Druid tanking is quite viable. I think Druid tanking is definitely going to be stronger than Protection Paladin. I still need to finish leveling up. I think I'm 114. So once I finish leveling up, I'm going to start doing the heroic level grind. I want to be able to have every single tank heroic dungeon geared, so I can start seeing the end game. I can start walking into Mythic Zeros. I'm ready to start going into Old Deer. So that's my goal, to do that with every tank so that I can see how they perform. Because I think comparing tanks and leveling experiences, while it can lead to certain things that are true, it also leads to certain things that are false, because the whole world is scaling around you, right? So while Demon Hunters are the most OP at doing questing, they do a ton of AoE damage and they have a ton of self-healing, Demon Hunters are by no means the best at raid tanking. Do I know if the HOA have a level limit? What do you mean the HOA? Oh, the Heart of Azeroth has a level limit, like artifact weapons did? No. As far as I know, it does not. Sorry, this is the first time I heard someone just abbreviate it as HOA. Yeah, as far as I know, it doesn't have a leveling limit. But Azerite power used to be a little bit easier to farm than oh god, not Azerite power. Azerite, no. Azerite's the current one. Artifact power. The old AP was harder to farm than the new AP. I mean, was easier to farm. The new AP is a little bit more difficult to farm, to be honest with you. They did say that islands are going to be our main source of Azerite power, and so far they're not, so I think that still needs to get tuned up a little bit. War campaign? Oh yeah, it says war campaign because you're in Battle for Azeroth. Everything is a war. So that where it says war campaign, it's just, you know, your regular campaign, your regular quest missions, like how much have you done, how much of the story have you actually done. You love the mobility of Demon Hunters. They are so awesome at moving around. I agree. Demon Hunters, oh wait, which door is open? A different door is open every single time. Here it is. This one's open this time. This dungeon is just has all the randomness in it. I believe we have a pat right here. Yeah. So yeah, still unfortunately, like, Ignore Pain is on the global, so trying to get that up while holding threat feels bad, man. Let me pop that Dragon Roar. That Dragon Roar is definitely going to help with maintaining threat, but I don't know. Playing around maintaining threat is not fun gameplay. It's not, and it's not necessarily difficult. It's just frustrating. So as far as like, why did Blizzard make this change? I have no idea. Why would they nerf the threat by 80% and just make us have Skittish at all times? I don't know. It's not fun. Skittish was interesting as an affix because it was an added challenge, but playing with Skittish on at all times it's not fun. The war never changes. Demon Hunters are the ninjas of the tank world? Yes, yes they are. Very, very much the ninjas of the tank world. Alright. These other toads need to go down as well. Come on. Oof, I'm gonna die. Heal, heal, heal. Victory rush. How am I dying to little toads on the ground? Alright, now that we cleared everything, we're good. But you guys can see I have 150,000 HP. What? Oh, somebody pulled the guys that were way above us? Do we have... We don't even have like a hunter or a boomkin to be doing those big pulls. What? Your guess is Blizzard is training us back to vanilla when they launch Classic? But that's so dumb, because Classic is going to be a different, like, not a different launcher, a completely different game. It's going to be a completely different game. Why do I want this game to look like another game? I play this game because it's this game. If I wanted to play with a global cooldown, if I was so in love with Classic that I needed it all the times, to this day there are still private servers. I'd be playing them. Now me, I wouldn't be able to stream them. You can't do that. But I'd be playing them. I mean, one of the biggest people for this whole for the whole private server movement in Classic WoW, Soda Poppin'. He loves Classic WoW. That's all he does is play private servers. I think he said he leveled up like 6 people like in the last month, all the way from 1 to 60. Like, there's options for you if you want to play with those global cooldown changes. But I play this game because I like how this game plays. If I wanted to play Classic, I'd play Classic. Those global cooldown changes are not good, especially with the if everything was tuned to how it used to be, maybe. But they're adding in a little bit of vanilla with the tuning of new stuff. It's like you're crossing the streams, man. You're crossing the streams. You can't do that. All right, let me just do that. Ignore pain on the global. Feels bad, man. But I can tell you from healing both Demon Hunter and Paladins, Paladins take less damage, the Demon Hunter takes less spiky. Yes. Which is why my biggest complaint about Demon Hunters this whole time has been they need one more raid cooldown. They need one more defensive. They need another, like right now they have Fiery Brand and Meta. They need something else that's in between. Fiery Brand is on a 1-minute cooldown, I believe, and then Meta's on a 5-minute. I think they need something else that's like a 2.5 to 3 minute cooldown. Like they need one more thing to fill in that gap. That's it. That's all they need. I was gonna say, did they reset? No, that was the time. Okay. I was about to be really upset if they reset, because this boss fight is not very easy. This fight is heavy on the healers. If you guys can see the damage taken, everybody's taking as much damage as me because there's so much AoE cleave damage going out. Fallout 76. Did I hear about the 80% threat to nerf to tanks? Yes. Preach that it wasn't a huge deal. Things okay. What's my take? Yeah, skittish is baseline. I think that it's terrible. Can you still hold aggro? Yeah, especially look, I just lost aggro right there. So when I first started tanking Mythic Zeros, I said it on stream. I was like, I think threat generation is bugged. Okay, I think threat generation is bugged because I keep losing threat, and it turns out it wasn't bugged. It was a feature. I think it's a big deal because playing around the idea of threat isn't fun. It's not good gameplay. It doesn't require skill. So when, look at that, it's just, this dude's just bouncing around. So when we start going into Mythic Pluses, when we start going into endgame raiding, telling your DPS, hey guys, slow down, doesn't take skill. You just need your DPSers to hit only their filler, and your tanks to hit their biggest aggro abilities. There's nothing fun and nothing skillful about it. Everybody's just kind of waiting. You just need to wait for everybody to twiddle their thumbs. It's gonna make berserk timers harder to hit when you're on progression. It's just, there's just like these little things that it's just an added like cumbersome thing to have. There's, again, I don't think there's anything fun about telling your DPS, having a raid leader go in there and be like, alright guys, you guys are only gonna hit your filler spell until I tell you to go all out, okay? And then your raid leader counts to 5 and they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, now you guys can DPS. Like that's not skill. That's not increasing how I play. That's not making things more fun. It's making things frustrating. And then when we start going into Mythic pluses, Skittish is baseline. So then you're gonna toss in Skittish again. So it's like if in Legion right now they made another affix that was Skittish times 2. You got a key that had Skittish on it twice. You wouldn't run that key. You would say this is impossible. How the hell am I supposed to hold threat with 2 Skittish debuffs on? No, I don't want to do this. And there would be no tanks queuing up that week, and that would be that. But with Skittish baseline, if you have, let's say you have an arms warrior, your arms warrior jumps in, pops recklessness, and pops a blade storm. There's nothing you can do about it. You are not going to hold that. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're doing. Even in live in Legion, sometimes that slips. Nerf your threat generation by 80%. It's yeah, that threat's jumping around all over the place. There's nothing you do about it. This is a lot of AoE threat as well. This is when the threat isn't fun. I have like 4 or 5 targets that were elites there that I need to start tab spamming on and need to start holding them. It's not skillful. Can you still tank, and is it still going to be doable? Absolutely. The players will always find a way. Blizzard develops a game, the players find a way to play that game. But I don't think it's going to be fun. Don't take it seriously, probably just like kiting mobs in Mythic Plus is going to be very difficult. Yes. So when you run Raging, Bolstering, or Necrotic, or even sometimes on a fortified week, or you know, sometimes there's another week that can really get to you. You need to kite. You're not gonna be able to kite anymore. Maxim, thanks for the sub, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, how am I supposed to walk away from a mob on a Skittish week? You don't. You really don't. And then now with Skittish being baseline, when we do have that Skittish week in addition to the baseline, I can't kite anything. Impossible. The only way we can do that is if Mythic Plus is going to have 2 tanks in there, and you're going to have to tank swap. That's it. That's what you're going to have to do. It's just not a fun thing to do. And I think in vanilla, I get it. In vanilla, we had to worry about threat. I understand. In BC, you still had to worry somewhat about threat. A lot less than in vanilla, but in BC and in Wrath of the Lich King, the aggro numbers were like how they're trying to make them now. You still had to worry about aggro. And as someone who has tanked, I've tanked in Wrath was when I started endgame tanking. Burning Crusade, I did a little bit of it, but I honestly can't count myself a tank. But when I used to tank in Wrath of the Lich King, I can tell you that waiting for threat was never fun for anyone. I don't think there has ever been anyone that goes, do you remember waiting for threat? That was so fun. People will tell stories and say, hey, yeah, you used to have to wait for threat. That's just the way the game was. But I don't think anyone has ever said, that was so fun, I wish they put it back. I don't think anyone's like, oh man, dude, do you remember running Molten Core and then we had to just start wanding because the tank was gonna lose threat? They should bring that back, because that was a lot more fun than always casting my rotation and feeling strong. That was so much more fun than popping all my cooldowns whenever the hell I wanted. I miss waiting. I miss AFKing. I don't think anyone will argue that it was fun. It required you to be a lot more attentive because there was one extra bar to look at. You had to look at your omen or your tiny plates or whatever it is that you used. You had to look at it. There was a different bar you had to look at. and also certain classes had disproportionate threat per second, right? Not everybody generated the same threat per their DPS. So yeah, I just don't think it's fun. I had to pop a cooldown there. For some reason, everybody was just a little bit late in joining me here. I lost threat to this guy. Come on, come back on me. There it is. Can skittish even exist, or threat being nerfed by 80% sounds totally crazy? Look, I think a company that nerfs rage by 80% at all times is a company that will also have skittish going on a Mythic Plus week. I think the same. Whoever's making that decision has the brain decision process making to still toss in skittish. That's what I think. I think whoever made that decision will still be like, yeah, no, skittish is fine. Let's do skittish. That's fine. Now, I hope skittish is gone if they make this change, but even then, telling someone to slow their DPS on a raid boss was never fun. And then, like, you tell someone slow your DPS, and then all of a sudden the boss enrages, then it's like, well, these shitty tanks aren't generating enough threat because we have to stop DPS for 10 seconds. You know, it's just not fun. It's not fun. Berserker timers should be met because your DPS going, you know, balls to the wall all the time. They just can't meet the timer. That's what it should be. Look at that. I popped Dragon's Roar, which is a huge hit. That's like doing Shield Slam twice on a complete AoE, and I still lost that threat. Oh man. Just run with rogues and hunters and you're good? Yeah, what happens when you can't? What happens when you can't find one? Since you play Vengeance, the threat nerfs are just gonna tickle you? Yeah. Everything you do is a passive AoE cleave, and you're fine. Like you'll be okay. You're still gonna have your Immo auras, you're still gonna have your sigils, your infernal strikes, your cleaves, your spirit bombs. The only thing that you do that is going to be affected in a negative way in terms of AoE threat will be either shear or fracture, depending on what talent point you're running. Like HOV, you can kite the mobs, do no damage because they're chasing the tank. Yeah. You have enjoyed tanking in this expansion? Yeah, me too. I think I mentioned it earlier. The only time I didn't enjoy tanking this expansion was during Nighthold, during Crosis, and Star Augur. That was it. Those are the two boss fights that I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. In fact, there was a lot of people that like hated Botanist. I didn't mind Botanist. Botanist was a lot of physical damage that I could block. But the magic damage fights on a Prot Warrior were terrible, man. Until we got our new tier set abilities that helped us generate rage really fast, so then we could stack our ignore pains really well. Yeah, that magic damage sucked. I think I'm sitting at like, I think warrior tanks are the new brewmaster tanks. You just have to sit at like 20% HP at all times. There's no other way around it. Ooh, my healer zoom. I was gonna pull. My healer had 1% mana. Let's not pull. Getting DPS to wait was so BS. DPS never waiting, and that's the way. Yeah. I agree. I agree that it's telling your threat. I mean, telling your DPS to slow down is not something anyone wants to hear. It's something nostalgic, sure, but I don't think it's something that anyone is like. That was what made it fun. What made vanilla fun was telling people like that Onyxia wipe animation, right? Now at this point you put the dots and slowly. Why did this guy reset? There was an ad inside of him that I think caused him to reset. Is this guy glitched? If he's glitched, we can't do the last bosses. They don't spawn, or the door doesn't open rather. We can't even get down there. Let's hope they listen to the feedback. Yeah, I hope so. They stealth patched it. They're most likely are teasing us. Yeah, I think part of what Blizzard has done in the past few expansions is they overtune, you know? They swing the ban hammer or the nerf hammer or whatever. They swing it a lot in one direction. They nerf things to the ground. They completely like overtune things. They make things crazy so that then later on they can be like, all right, we'll bring it back down a little bit. Like the global cooldown change, they have all of these things going on the global cooldown, and now all of a sudden like tanks are getting some of their defensives off the global. You know, they're starting to listen, and racials and trinkets are now off the global. I don't think anyone ever said these trinkets need to be on the global. They're way too strong. So like things like that, I think they swing it really, really hard in one direction, so that when they bring it back, we're all like, oh good. I just think it hurts their bottom line, because there are certain people that will only read certain patch notes and then go, fuck that, I'm quitting. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with World of Warcraft forever. And I think it hurts their bottom line. But I think that's why they're kind of doing things. Now, that's just a conspiracy theory, and I could be completely wrong. But these changes are so massive, it's like, it has to be a conspiracy theory, right? It just has to be. What is this thing? It doesn't have secondary stats? What kind of a weapon is it with no secondaries? What? Strike your enemy with a powerful blow, dealing 1,000. That's not gonna do anything. I don't want it. That's a weird weapon drop. No secondaries. Shouldn't there be a witch that's spawning here? I thought there was. Huh. Stop DPS. Yup. And DPS the boss slowly. And when I say slowly, like we're gonna have the Onyxia wipe animation come back. It's gonna make a return in BfA because DPS are gonna have to slow down their roll. And like critical hits generate more threat than a regular hit, right? So like fire mages are just gonna be insane. A fire mage on the threat meters, his DPS isn't gonna be that much higher than other people. But since a crit has a threat multiplier built in, like fire mages are just gonna get shafted the whole expansion. I don't know. These threat changes, no. If they wanted to nerf threat a little bit, sure. 80%? No, this is way too much. In my opinion, taking away the artifact weapon is a big nerf, but that's not enough, isn't it? Yeah, no, the artifact weapon, if our artifact weapons had only given us the artifact ability, you know, it wouldn't be that bad. But our artifact weapons used to give us so much. Like in that same area that you had concordance, or not concordance, the latest one was like plus stamina and plus armor and plus main stats to every single class. You also had an increase in everything else, like for Prot Warriors, 20% more magic mitigation, increase to crit blocking. Whenever we used to crit block, we would automatically deal damage to other people with dragon scales. Dragon scales made our ignore pain scale higher. Like there was a lot of little things that are now just removed, and without those artifact weapons we feel really naked. Like we just do. And at the same time, in comparison to Legion, like they told us in Legion we're gonna have these really powerful weapons, we're gonna be the strongest we've ever been. So sure, a little bit of a down tuning by taking the weapons away is fine, but I think they're tuning everything. They're like, all right, what's every single thing that we have a knob on? All right, every single one of those knobs, let's turn all of them down by 10%. And it's like all of them? Yeah, every single thing that we have a knob to be able to turn down, let's turn it all down. And I think it's a little too much. I think it's a lot of little things. There's no one thing that's gonna ruin a class or a spec or anything. No one thing is going to kill it. But when you combine all of the little things, It's kind of like how I said earlier. It's like a death of 1,000 cuts. It's like a lot of little things just adding up. Ooh, 20 more minutes till LFR testing. Nice. People like Preach like threat changes because it makes you have to pay more attention and do more stuff. Wait, but nerds, here's the thing too. Preach was a main warrior in Legion. I mean main mage. He was a main mage in Legion. He was a main protection warrior before that. I agree. But in terms of like main tanking, progression tanking, Legion, you know, he wasn't there. He had other alts and he, you know, dicked around on them, sure. But yeah, I think like these tanking changes, like the global cooldown changes, and then like the tanking list, right? Demon Hunters being #1 tanks. #1 tanks in terms of only that they're fun, that their kit is fun because it's very diverse, yeah. But #1 tank in the expansion, no, they lack the defensives to be able to do any of that. I'm getting destroyed. This boss hits hard. It's that constant dot damage. Still love Preach though? Yeah, he's a very respectable guy, very knowledgeable of the game. I just think that a lot of it ends up being things are fine. Like when you create content, a lot of people have that immediate knee-jerk reaction of everything is nerfed, everything's going to shit, I'm getting rid of my subscription, I'm done with this game. And it's not that serious, but every now and then, like right now we're in the beta, it's okay to say this is shit because this is when we're supposed to get tuning, right? This is when we're supposed to have those changes happen. So I think calling out certain things isn't detrimental to the environment because this is when we're supposed to do it. If BfA was live right now, then it would be like, okay, let's make it work. But this is the tuning. This is when they want us to talk. They've said many times before, give us your feedback. And I think giving the feedback is important. And I think saying things aren't fine is okay, because I don't think that things are fine. I think struggling to stay alive on a protection warrior kind of sucks. And then also saying, yeah, but they're gonna tune the numbers later eventually. It's okay to say this is how I think you should tune the numbers. Preach is a very respectable guy. I agree. Hats off to him. He does a lot. But I think you need to be a little bit more firm with the feedback that's given. That's it. You're just not a bear. That's the thing too. I'm not a bear. I need to start playing the bear. How come this guy isn't getting knocked back? He's inside the. You can go inside of the rings. It's no longer a ring of peace. It's a ring of enter slowly. Yeah, and then telling people stop being a dumbass. I agree. It's also very different because people. There's certain people that will never see the impact, the full impact of the threat change, because they only run with a Mythic guild. They've been with their Mythic guild for years. They don't do any pugging. They don't pug either regular dungeons. They don't pug LFR. They don't pug normal. They don't pug heroic. And I think the large majority of people pug like through heroic. Whether or not you have a guild that can clear normal, that's different. But I think even if you have a guild that can go through normal and heroic, I've been seeing in Legion more and more a lot of guilds going through heroic, and they toss up LFG and they say guild run, join us, and they take like 4 or 5 pugs. So I think even the people in those situations, they still pug. So I think it's very important to look at the changes for everybody. If you run with a Mythic level guild, like with my guild, I'm not going to be too worried about the threat changes when I'm progression running, because I'll be able to say, hey so-and-so, stop pushing so much threat. Hey so-and-so, last time we did this boss, you peeled because you popped all these things at once. Don't do that next time. And the threat changes aren't going to affect you that much. But when we talk about the pug world, the threat changes are going to be ridiculous. because pugging skittish week was always an uphill battle, because you had the one person who was always like, we need to 3 chest this, we need to get the timer with 3 chests, and so I'm gonna start body pulling everything, and it's like, hey, chill out, this is skittish. If you pull it for me by getting a huge hit off on them, I'm not gonna be able to pick it up off of you. So it's, you need to look at it in terms of everybody, and I think that threat change is overall a negative change for that world. The world of, I know everybody's first name and I can call them out and see the threat meters and say, hey, so and so, relax. Yeah, not a big deal. But I think that's the minority. I think if you look at you go to wowprogress.com and you look at the guilds that exist in a certain realm, I think only the first page are going to be mythic level guilds. After that, you're going to have like 14 pages of people varying from heroic to normal to LFR. So most people are not going to be that mythic level. So the average player like me, if things go through, stop doing that, start doing other stuff like collecting mounts. I agree. And by the way, Epic, I don't think running old raids is that easy anymore. I think you're really going to have to watch what you do. Alright, we have the LFR raid testing in 14 minutes. But you guys can see, like, I was completely over geared for that. I didn't die. I got very close a few times though. And I'm over geared. Like, I can only get 1 upgrade from a heroic dungeon now. I don't think that amount of damage that I was taking is a very normal thing to do. Let's do an island for the last 10 minutes or 14 minutes that we have before the LFR, and then we're gonna join an LFR. Or actually, are there people already forming? It said that, okay, let me load up this. It said that raid testing is opening up, but it doesn't say if you'll be able to queue up via LFR or if you need to form your own group and it's just going to be LFR difficulty. Yeah, the first wing of Raid Finder will be available through the weekend. But it doesn't say if we're going to be able to do this Halls of Containment, or if we're going to have to form a group. Because if we have to form a group, oh, this is Legacy Raids. If we have to form a group, oh, there's no way to queue up for a current raid. So the people that are Mythic testing right now. Vinny, yes, you can see my talents. The only one you can't see is the last tier, right? You can see I selected Anger Management, but this is what I'm running right now. I like it so far. The good threat generation with Booming Voice, and combine that with Anger Management, the new Bolster talent comes up about every minute and 15 seconds. So if you're generating good amounts of rage and eating it, the new Bolster talent combining with Last Stand does pretty damn well. Dragon Roar, they increased the damage that Dragon Roar does, and they also made it generate rage, but now it's on a longer cooldown. So I don't know if they make this if they make the Unstoppable Force also give Thunderclap the old 50% snare that it had. Unstoppable Force is going to be way better than Dragon Roar. But I can't queue up for like current raids, so let me hop over to an island. Oh my bad, let me leave those up for you as well. Pugging skittish, kill me. Yeah, pugging with something that has skittish applied on it twice, man. Let's queue up for a heroic island. There it is. Bear tanking is the worst you've ever seen in all of WoW. You fear it's too late for them. Wait, what do you mean it's bad? A dog? Bad in what sense? Because right now I've been on my bear, and my bear is OP. But bad in what sense? Like rotation wise, or what? That is what we have had to do at times. We run between 12 to 16 people from our raids, and you grab a few extra people. Yeah. So imagine trying to yell at someone who you have no idea what their name is, who decides to pop Lust, Recklessness, a Trinket, and go in with their biggest damage dealing abilities. Like, your tanks aren't going to hold that. Does this mean no more skittish for BfA? I hope so. Because if they add skittish in addition to this, you know, those weeks are going to be rib keys. You think there is gear in BfA that has threat reduction and increases, if you're not mistaken? It was data mined a long time ago. Or it has enchants. There's a few enchants that do a few interesting things. Let me see. I have enchanting. It used to be a cloak. Back in the day, there was a cloak that would give you threat reduction. But unless it's Azerite traits, Mohammed, I haven't seen it. It could be Azerite traits, but it's gonna feel bad when you have one Azerite trait that increases your Shadow Bolt damage by 10%, and then the other trait reduces total threat by 5%, and you have to do the threat one. Like, you can't increase your DPS because of this overarching decision of nerfing threat. You know, it's just like they're putting you in a situation where they're giving you choices, but not really. They're giving you choices, but you know what you have to pick. You have to pick the threat reduction. None of these guys are elite, so I can just keep picking these guys up, no problem. It is a heroic level difficulty, but I should be able to handle this. I have the gear for this. Here it is. Here's a big dude. Alright, so the point of this is just stay alive for as long as my people can do damage for, and they have to kill the thing, right? So let me just start kiting a little bit. Alright, just a little bit of kiting. Hopefully I don't lose threat. 300% threat right now. And then it doesn't matter what my HP is at right now, because at the end of this fight, these elite guys that have this Azerite bubble on them, they drop a bubble that heals me. So they drop this, and this heals me. So even if I look at that, even if I lose a little bit of HP, I go all the way back up. No big deal. So I can make pulls relatively big without having to worry about things. Rotation and gameplay is completely gutted and boring. Way more gutted than a Legion due to lack of artifact. Feels empty. Feels empty, but I will tell you that it still feels very strong though. So while I agree with you that I don't think Druids are the most interesting tanks in terms of their rotation, they're also not weak by any means. What is this? Oh, that was like a quest I had? It's weird. I didn't know there was quests in islands. Alright, these things are free to mine. And then we have this big dude over here. Alright, the spinning. Can I stun you out of it? I can. Perfect. Alright, time to kite. My bolster just ran out. A little bit of kiting that I can do with this 20% snare. Do you have to stack frost resist gear again now? No, even though like they are making these changes, I feel like, yay, vanilla changes. I don't know. I don't think live needs to become vanilla. I think the people that play live because it's different, because it is what it is right now. I think also one thing is that WoW has always been the best action MMORPG. Like, I've played other ones, they didn't compare. I tried Lord of the Rings Online. It was very slow. It felt clunky every time you had to cast. You had to like stop your animation completely. I used to play Warhammer. While the PvP in Warhammer was very fun, the RVR, it was still slower than World of Warcraft. I played WildStar. WildStar had the same speed, but the fact that absolutely everything was always telegraphed just felt kind of weird. And they also were saying that it was going to be the go-to for hardcore, and too bad if you weren't, and it honestly wasn't like that hardcore. But yeah, I've played a bunch of other MMOs, and WoW has always had the best combat, and by slowing it down, I think they're taking a step in the wrong direction. Okay, we have a ton of things here. I don't know what this does, but let's use it. What does it do? Stunned. Damage taken increased. Nice. Alright, I just popped Dragon's Roar so I can kite a little bit. Oh, and they're charging me. No, 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 no. Oh, there was no way I can run out of that. Somebody died. Oh, the melee DPS on our team went down to his enhancement shaman. Went down. Please don't charge me again. I just want to do a little bit of kiting. This bear is way tougher than the other Azerite creatures I fought. Are these Alliance? No, Azerite sources. Okay, that's fine. So we can level by doing islands. Islands provide a small amount of XP. And right now, they have it so that you start doing islands at level 115. I wouldn't doubt it if they make islands only 120 when Legion comes out. I honestly, I don't doubt that. I don't know if they will. They haven't said anything about that. But they used to scale you up to 120, and I think when you join an island, even as a 115, they scale you up. So I think islands are meant for 120s. I think this is meant to be endgame. Stop putting Classic WoW into my live WoW. Yes, I think there should be different games. This guy got sapped? Oh no, Shrink Ray. Okay. I was gonna say, like, is Alliance here? Do they have a rogue here? Because if they do, it's terrible. I can't pull them because they are Azerite infused. Even though they do have whatever that Shrink Ray debuff is on them, they're still gonna hit me hard. They are Azerite infused. And then we have like this big dude over here who I want to pull, but I'd rather pick up this Azerite infusion first and then go in there. There's no Alliance here. I just realized we're playing on an island by ourselves. The RP, so a lot of the RP broke the last patch, the last build that they did of the beta, but they updated the builds yesterday and I thought they had fixed it, but look, it seems like the RP broke again. 0. They're trying to kill private servers. Hey, they saw a money making opportunity and they took it about 10 years too late, but they took that opportunity. Have a great weekend. For sure, man. You have to go ride your tractor for the next hour or so. Nice. For sure, man. For sure. Time for you to load up a good podcast, my friend. Alliance 0 AFK. Yeah, this isn't even a PvP island, so it's the robots. The robot AI, the smart AI, is just hanging out on the boat. Oof. I got clipped by that AoE he did. This guy is hurting. The security officer. Yeah, I'm just going to overtime. He's a security officer with his workers, and he's making them go overtime right now. Interesting. Pop that Dragon's Roar in there to be able to kite them a little bit because there's no other way to kite right now. We have raid testing starting in 2 minutes. I gotta jump out, get this LFR done, see all these bosses. I've seen a decent amount of them. I think there's only one boss I've never seen. I missed 1 day of raid testing, so there's only one boss I haven't seen. Have I tried Mythic Islands already? They do exist, and I've tried them, and when I went in there, the Alliance team showed up. I ran into them because I was like, let's go, let's PvP. And the Alliance team one-shot me. Okay, they didn't one-shot me. One of their hits hit me for about 80%, and then the second shot killed me. So Mythic Islands are in the game, but they seem more like they're just unfair right now rather than anything else. It's just like right now they're just like, yeah, increase the difficulty by 50,000. So yeah, I've walked into one Mythic level dungeon and it was terrible. The one thing that I haven't, or the one thing that I see that they haven't done is they haven't made different difficulties for PvP. PvP is just one difficulty. I think it's probably normal difficulty. But when you walk into a PvP island, you're fighting the opposing faction, but the mobs are just normal mode. So I think adding heroic and mythic level PvP islands would be cool, because then you have a threat from the environment, and then you also have a threat from the other players, which right now doesn't exist. Alright, LFR raid testing just opened up. It's 2:30, but I don't know if I get a deserter debuff by leaving, so let's hurry this up. I can pick up this dude right here.
Check your map for hazardite concentrations.
Hey, the last one that I broke out turned out to not be elite, and this guy did. Oh man.
We are halfway done already.
Halfway? Let's go faster. Oof, I got rooted in that because of this dang crab here. I need an adult. I need an adult. Ignore pain. Dragon roar. Alright, I'm just gonna start kiting. I stunned this crab. Get me out of here. Ugh, that crab was messing me up. I gotta kill it before it reaches me again. No thank you. Increased difficulty by 50,000. Dude, that's how it felt when I ran that mythic island. I just got one shot. The alliance showed up and then they were like 80% of your tank HP gone. And then the rest of my team did get one shot because they didn't have the increased HP. So yeah, it was it just felt unfair. Is the crab a new seagull? It was holding me down basically. It was like, hey, these guys do a giant AoE move that's gonna mess you up. You want to dodge it, but too bad you can't dodge it because I'm gonna pinch your feet. Got him. Got him. Whoa, where'd these spirits come from? They sound funny. This guy's taking a lot longer to take down than the other ones too. He's not even elite or anything. Crabdan, mythic level Gul'dan. Whenever he's gonna do his big AoE, his like darkness cast or whatever it is, he actually spawns a bunch of crabs that hold your feet, and then you can't run out of the AoE and you're dead. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Oh yeah, let's go that way. Let's go that way. There's gonna be the big dude over here. Big dude is a lot of Azurite. Instant win. Yeah, these Azurite crystals are going to be an instant win. Perfect. This guy right here too, I don't want to do too big of an AoE pull because if you don't interrupt this unleashed Azurite, he just AoE cleaves everybody around you and he'll ruin your day very easily. Alright, I'll pull this guy, and I will pull him away so that they can farm this out. So, come on guy, let's go. Let's go. My friends need to mine this stuff so we can all go do LFR. I want my new tier piece. You gotta let me do LFR, my friend. There it is, interrupt that Azurite barrage because that is a killer. Nice, took that guy down. Heroic Leap is off of the global. Feels good to have something off the global. Oh no, another crab pinch. Stop. Stop it. Use my damn Stormbolt on it. Crabs don't mess around. Oh no. Oh no. I need more rage. I need more ignore pains. No! This is an uphill battle, guys. Heal. Heal. Give me a frenzied regen. Give me something, Blizzard. Seagull 2.0. Please go check Alliance. You're worried about them? No, man. They all got seasick. They're all currently throwing up off the side of the boat. They weren't able to do anything about this. That's what happened. They all showed up to the island just in time to just start barfing. Perfect. Do we win yet? Very close. There's some things we can farm out here, though. We're good. Wait, no, there's nodes here. No, there's nodes here. Why do they want to go that way? There's 3 nodes here. Let that crab seek vengeance. No, that crab needs to stop, man. That crab needs to allow me to get vengeance. Nice. Power Rangers, unite. Perfect. Perfect. Now for LFR. Let's see how bad it is. Whoa, why am I going to the mother load? Why are you sending me to the mother load, Blizzard? It really did. No thanks. I hate that dungeon already. Yeah, it really did send me to the mother load. Okay. LFR. Oh, it is just an LFR queue. Perfect. Let me go find a repair. Nice. Nice little fist weapon. I think there's a repair guy up here. Somewhere. Oh, stuck to this thing. There it is. Yeah, I don't know why they sent me to the mother load. They want me to like that dungeon, but I don't. That dungeon is a Seat of the Triumvirate in a different skin. That's all it is. It's just trash everywhere. No one's queuing up. Guys, if you're out there, queue up for LFR. Let's go. Let's do this. We're going to knock out all of the first 3 bosses. Talic's easy, guys. There's an elevator boss in it, and while you're on the elevator, the boss is still there, and he's spawning more ads, and you can get knocked off the elevator and die. Like, perfect, right? And then we have Mother, who also spawns like 1 million ads every other phase. And then some of the ads, and then you spawn clouds in the room, and if anyone touches one of those clouds, they spawn an ad that blows up and kills everybody. And then Zekvoss. Which one's Zekvoss? Hold on, before I start talking about Zekvoss. Oh, Zekvoss is the ad guy that spawns clouds and you die. Mother is, oh yeah, Mother has force fields, and if everybody crosses the force field at once, you die. So you got to be careful. Like, only one person at a time can trickle through. Yay, rip raid time. Yes. Oh, let me look at the new enchantments for Muhammad. So I have enchanting right here, Zandalari enchanting, and the only thing I've seen is ring enchantments, and then the glove enchantments are just secondary professions. And then you also have these wrist ones for hearthing. When you hearth, you get a bubble hearth. With this one, safe hearthing, you create an absorb shield. Cooled hearthing is less cooldown, and swift is a faster cast. Increase the speed of your Hearthstone cast, yeah. But I have safe hearthing, and it doesn't work. I don't get a bubble. Look, if I try to use this, there's no bubble on me anywhere. So still a little bit broken. But let me see if they are introducing like the reduced threat enchant to cloaks. Unless they have it here. These are weapon enchants, and I don't think they would put threat reduction on here. Increased armor. Nice. Stacking up to 5 times. I need this. What do I need? 95 enchanting and Expulsum. Expulsum is like from... Is that the one from raid bosses? I have one that's from raid bosses. Oh no, this is... I've killed one raid boss and I got a resource. Sanguicell. Crud, thanks for the sub, man. I appreciate it. I hope you are enjoying the content. So I do need Expulsum, which I think is actually is this? There's one that's on like a cooldown creation. Quick haste, mastery, short heal, increased attack speed. Enchant weapon with leech by 7. 7 leech? 7? I think I have gear with leech here. I think it's a helmet. I have like a something with leech. And I can see how much 7 leech would be. Ooh, we're in. 73 leech for pants, and this is going to give me 7 on my weapon. Why, Blizz? Enchant a scepter. Enchant a scepter. DE rod. I don't see anything in enchanting here. And the enchanting trainer is somewhere here. Alright. Let's do this. LFR time. Mother, Jennifer Lawrence. Oh no. Only one person can meet her at a time or she's going to go crazy. So I don't know what the difference between normal and LFR is. Let's see. Aim the cudgel, taunt, bloods. It seems like it's the same thing. Damage is probably not going to be that bad though. Cudgel of Gore inflicting 97,000 decreases 97,000, and we're scaling up. Let me do this. Let me save this to item level. Let me equip my haste gear, because my haste gear. Oh, are we not? We're being scaled to item level 325. Oh, I'm out gearing some of the gear already. I'm losing a decent amount of HP. Equip. I'm losing 8,000 HP. Why is that? Alright, we'll just keep this. It's gonna be a lot less haste, but we'll be fine. Demo shout, sure. Let's lock this into place. And I guess I can't lock in anything else into place. The shoulders are too strong. I have Heroic Leap on cooldown. The other guy's telling me that he's never tanked this. He was healing it. And this boss you can actually solo tank. It's not a big deal. They're pulling me into it. I'm explaining the fight to the other dude. Yeah, this instantly kills you in normal mode. That stuff on the ground. And they rotate. You can also stun them out of it, but they rotate. So this one casted it right now. Now he doesn't have it up. Now this one's going to cast it very, very soon and get that AoE on the ground. Why are you pulling me to the one that's going to have junk on the ground? Stop it. And so then you kill this one. There it is. And then you wait for that one. You can stun it. If I can get close enough. Out of range. What? How is this out of... Okay, I don't know how that was out of range. I was like right up in their face. Okay. Alright, so this boss... you can tank him like in the middle where he is. And then everybody that has the pools of blood has to... People already are yelling go and slash say... And telling people to move and go. Yeah, look at that. That was... Man. Also, by the way, guys, you guys see I've been working on my weak auras. Nice. Alright. So, for this boss, I don't currently have the boss. But at 100 energy, this boss is going to do the thing where he goes and runs with his mace somewhere. And that mace is going to clear the area and also hurt a lot of people. So right now, I'm going to taunt. And I'm gonna move him. Alright, I picked a threat. So I'm gonna move him over, and I need to clear this area. But a lot of people are really close. I wouldn't be surprised if some people die. Yes, everybody died. That was the area with the blood. So people need to run to a certain area. People need to drop their blood. Let's say I'm gonna drop my blood. I'm gonna drop my blood over here. Drop all the blood, and then I need to run back into position and start DPSing on the other side of the room. When the tank is clearing the room, the tank is going to drop the cudgel on that part of the room, and the boss does a big AoE around him where it hurts the closer you are to the boss. So everybody was standing right on top of the blood. Yeah, they all died. People in the slash raid chat are saying, Blizzard, this is LFR. We should be able to ignore all the mechanics and still kill the boss. It doesn't seem like it's tuned that way. So I'm going to let this guy do the whole cudgel mechanic. I'll show you guys. I'm going to go far away from the boss. It's not going to hit me that bad. I got hit for 7,000. You know, I'm fine. But everybody's still stacking up on the tanks. Also, his HP is way lower. He's at 50%. And not even half. 70% of the raid died on the first cudgel, and the boss is already at half. So we're gonna have to restart. But yeah, this is easier than in normal mode for sure. Will I share my weak auras before 8.0 for each tanking class? Yes, John. Are you talking about the tanking weak auras, or are we talking about these? On the left-hand side, you see this giant button one. This is the weak aura for the boss encounter. So this is the boss's energy. Once he hits 90, this weak aura turns orange, so you know you have to place him for the cudgel. But are you talking about the boss weak aura? See, like this says dodge, because he's casting his sanguine static as well. So he's going to be casting his cleave. But I don't know if you want the weak auras for the tanking classes or the bosses, but either way, I'll release them all. I don't have one of every single tanking class, so the class specific weak auras, those might take a little bit longer. So I need to work on those. Like I have a prop paladin, prop warrior. I'm working on my guardian druid. I still need to do some of the other ones. But yeah, like the prop warrior ones, I already released them, not in the form of video, but since prop warriors are still being changed, I released them over on my Twitter. But even then, I have a bolster weak aura, which doesn't work anymore because bolster doesn't exist. So yeah, the tanking weak auras, you normally get instance weak auras in a suit. Yeah, for sure. I'm also going to be doing my own like suite of raid weak auras, which I've done in the past. But since they require a lot of testing, normally in the past, I'm not going to lie, they come out like, you know, a few weeks into progression. So this time around, I'm going to be better prepared. I'm doing all this testing. As I'm doing the testing, I get my weak auras done. So the instance specific weak auras are also going to be done beforehand. Yeah, the other tank was asking me right now. He was like, wait, did we mess up? And it's like, nope. Everybody stacked on blood for some reason. My job is to clean up the blood. And I was, but everybody was also right next to me. Am I standing in the right place? No, you're literally standing on fire. And that fire blows up into lava. Alright, I think we're going to be able to take this boss down, though. Let's see. What kind of loot do we get from Raid Finder? 340, so this is Mythic 0 loot. LFR is Mythic 0. Cool. What can I get from the first boss? Legs and wrist. It's an upgrade. I want something cool. That helmet's not very cool. This axe. I want that. I want that, or gloves or whatever. They're okay. They're not bad. Or the new shield. Where's the new shield? Not this one. There's another one that I think is better. I think from the last boss. Yeah, Gahoon. Nice! I want it. I can just... This is like a riot shield. I just plop it down in front of me and slowly walk into things. But yeah, only the first wing is open, so we only get loot from the first 3 bosses, which means I can get my weapon. I can get my weapon. Oh no, Fetid Devourer, and that's not the same wing. Mother and Zekvos. Ah, I don't get my weapon. I get a trinket, a ring, legs, helmet, waist. Okay. Guys, by the next time you see me, I'm going to be full LFR geared. Yeah, I wish. You've been using Tell Me When in the past, but you struggle with the World Quest creation or the Weak Aura creation. Doesn't look... Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to get them all done for you, John. And I'll be releasing those in like their own edited videos. Like, I would have already done the warrior one if I felt that warriors were done. If I felt that warriors were complete, I would have done it. But I'm glad I didn't, because now you don't need the bolster weak aura. If I show you my weak auras, you see right here on the right hand side, that's the bolster weak aura. It's uptime. That weak aura I can just delete now. Doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, I'll definitely be releasing them. Just waiting for things to be a little bit more done. But I'm working on them in the background. I need to take all my current weak auras, apply them to the prop paladin next, and to the guardian druid. These body pulls. People are just yelling in instance chat. This is LFR, guys. This feels like LFR. Everybody's just yelling. There's no reason to complete them until 8.0. Blizzard changes like the wind. I agree. I'm getting like the template down, right? So like this button right here is currently shield block. But if tomorrow and it shows you the charges of shield block, and it shows you when you can cast it, if they change the rage requirement of shield block from 30 to 100, I need to change this to glow only at 100, so I can get a decent, oh god, everybody's dead. I can get a decent amount of groundwork done. If they remove Stormbolt from the game, that means that I remove this button and replace it with something else. So yeah, you know, no need to release them as final products yet, but you know, I can get them done in a certain amount right now. I can get some of it done. All right, so there's a lot of people over there and over here. That means that I'm gonna clear up this blood right behind me. So I'm getting destroyed. Nice, there it is. So what do you guys think about this change? I've thought about it a while, and I think it's crazy to actually say it out loud. But when you look at the numbers, I don't think it's that crazy. But what do you guys think about a change if Blizzard did it to where shield block no longer has charges? They're changing the way that blocking is working in the game. So blocking is no longer 30% flat damage reduction or 60% on a crit block, right? Now all you do is you get the armor on your shield, you add it to your own armor, and that's how you calculate the damage taken. So what do you guys think if Blizzard made it so that shield block is now stackable? Like you can, not even stackable, just has no cooldown, no charges. Like you can use it whenever you want. It would act the same way that Ironfur acts for druids, because for druids the amount of armor that Ironfur adds is about how much a shield adds at that level. So they would need to probably nerf shield armor just by a little bit, but they don't even need to make it stack. What if it doesn't stack but it has no charges, and you can have 100% uptime as long as you can generate the proper amount of rage? Do you think that's stupid and overpowered and I need to check into an insane asylum? Because running the numbers, they look like Guardian Druid numbers, which we agree. I agree that Guardian Druids are OP. So are the numbers gonna be more OP in comparison to how they are now? Yes. Will we be the most OP tanking class? No. There was never beams before. I don't know if those beams like hurt you or not, because it's very hard to see them before you're even there. Look at that. There's a beam that's gonna go right through the middle of the raid. Let's see if it's gonna hit everyone. Let's look at their HP. It's gonna go right out here. Yeah, it hurts. Whoa, they added a new mechanic. New mechanic, laser beams. Guys, we don't know how to tune this boss. Add laser beams. Got it. Oof. A lot of damage. We have 2 healers up. Come on, healers. Alright. The other tank died, but that's okay. This area is a much bigger area. I don't necessarily need to run and clear the bloods every single time. Everybody's dead, so we have no deeps. There's the cleave. We're about to get the cudgel going out very soon here. Oh, the other tank got a B-res. Perfect. Popping shield wall. Let me pop spell reflect because it's like shadow damage or something that he does. I forget what the exact is, but it's some kind of magic damage. These guys are gonna be really annoying. They're following certain people, but then these guys explode. The dots explode. The tanks can, the bloods can be tanked, but then yeah, these guys, they explode. Oof. We're so close. If the laser beam hadn't killed half the raid. We'd be great. For me, that change would be alright if they lowered the threat from 4 times down to 2 times. Lately, the most engaging tank play comes from class's utility, and they have shown the inability to balance that well. Yeah. It makes me feel that it takes away the skill ceiling that it comes down to generate rage, hit, shield block. 100% uptime on shield block sounds amazing, but I think they would nerf damage block. But, okay, so damage blocked is getting nerfed. In Legion, if you block something, it's 30% damage blocked. If you critical block something, it's 60% damage blocked, right? In BfA, that's already out the window. That isn't the case. If I block something, I'm not blocking 30% of the damage up front and then taking the rest of it. Let me show you guys how block works. So you guys see my block chance is 27% of the time. If I pop shield block, that goes up to 127, so no big deal. But it says blocking adds 5,636 armor. That armor amount is my shield. You guys see my shield has the 5,636 block. So when I block, I don't block in the traditional Legion sense where I reduce the damage taken by 30% first. I add my shield's block value to my armor. So instead of having 5,600 armor, I have 11,000, because adding both of these up together would put me at 11,000. So I would go up to 11,000 armor for that specific hit that I blocked. If I critical block, I add my shield in twice. So that would put me at 16,700 or something. So I would block like if I have 16,000 armor only on a critical block. So blocking is already like Ironfur. It is. It just, that's the way that they changed it in BfA. So would the skill ceiling go down a little bit? Sure, you don't have to balance around charges, but your current shield block charges in BfA are a tuned down version of Legion charges anyway. In Legion, I agree that like popping your shield block felt strong. It like when you're taking Kill Jaden's claws, saving up a charge of your shield block was necessary. It was crucial. If you didn't have shield block up for Fell Claws, you were dead. Like there was no question about it. But in this current build where they have block working like this, block is Ironfur. It's the same thing. So I don't see why they wouldn't just get rid of the charges. It's scaling mitigation by item slot, which I think is a great change. Yes, I agree. It's a better change because it allows us to scale better through the gearing process and scale better through the raids, as opposed to them going, hey, in this particular tier, blocking was way too strong, let's nerf it. In this way, it's going to scale better. Absolutely. You're going to be stronger in the higher tiers. You're going to be weaker in the weaker tiers. You're also, it's a logarithmic scale, so you hit diminishing returns at a certain point. So it has its very big positives. But what I'm trying to say is why is this on charges when Ironfur isn't? If they added charges to Ironfur, I agree that like cool, let's keep the charges on shield block. But Ironfur right now has no charges, costs a little bit more rage. I think shield block is down to 30 rage and Ironfur is still at 40. So it costs a little bit more rage. Impact is the same and you can stack it. We just have, what I'm trying to say is warriors have a shittier version of Ironfur up. That's all I'm saying. Damaged. Oh, that's why his HP is so low. He's already damaged. Damaged by a mod, because that's how you do LFR. You just chunk down 40% of their HP. It's in line with moving away from secondary stats and more towards item level and main stat. I agree. Vanguard is also a very good step in that direction. Our armor, a very small portion of our armor scaling with the amount of strength we have is a very good step in the right direction of if they want primaries to matter, that makes it matter. I completely agree. Don't druids generate less rage? I think their moves have them generate slightly less rage, but at the end of the day, they have such a large effective HP pool, they can generate more rage over the course of a fight by taking those hits, because they can take those hits a lot better. So I think they generate less rage per second, sure, but also they have they have less things that they need to do to spend it on, because Druids have Iron Fur and Maul, and if you don't care about your DPS, you don't need to Maul. It's not necessary. But for us, we have two AoE things, Thunderclap and Revenge costs Rage. So when we run into a Mythic plus, our AoE pickup, our regular trash pickup, it costs us Rage when they don't have that problem. So like the nerf to the threat is gonna affect us both like differently. It's not the same comparison. All right, he's gonna clean up that blood right there, perfectly fine. You don't. Ooh, that's a wipe. You were surprised the boss was going down really fast. He got nerfed. Well, this is LFR difficulty, so it makes sense. LFR bosses normally have a lot less HP, so yeah. I don't know if they scaled the damage though, because I think in LFR that's still gonna happen. Like, somebody said that there's not enough healing going out, but how are you supposed to heal a one-shot? You were impressed to see Paladins got the ability via talent to block magic damage. They have that in live right now. They have that in live. It's their tier set or something. That's why they're getting it back. They have it as a thing. I don't. Yeah. I know my Kotank can block a spell sometimes. And then there's a tier set that increases their blocking chances as long as they don't have active charges of their AM or something like that. So they can even increase, kind of like Redoubt, increase their things if they're out of everything else. Oh, okay. I want to get damaged by this laser beam. Ooh, that was a wipe anyway, but that laser beam hurts. Oh, somebody's screaming at the tank. He's saying that he detonated a bomb where all the healers were. I don't know what that means. There's no bomb detonation going on. Oh, man. Guys, LFR testing going as great as you can expect from LFR. You're referring to Blizzard's sweeping moves to remove magic mitigation? Oh, yeah. You are absolutely correct. I don't know if you've seen this, John. Our spell reflect is now only 15%. Although if they keep ignore pain, we can make up for it by having ignore pain. I 100% agree. But spell reflect took a tumble, man. Everybody has their own ways of being able to deal with magic mitigation, but now we don't have a very specific this is magic only damage. The only people that have that are DKs with AMS. Arguably protection warriors with spell reflect, but it's only 15%. I feel like that's not even anything to account for, and I think that's it. The only other ways to mitigate spell damage right now is to just reduce incoming damage in general. Whether you pop a demo shout and debuff your opponent, or you pop a shield wall and buff yourself by reducing incoming damage, that's the only other way that there is. Alright, this guy's like, alright guys, you guys listen up. There's a lot of people yelling at him, saying that the tank is an idiot. The tank needs to clean up the blood. If you're standing near the blood where the tank needs to go clean up, you're gonna die. There goes the befuddled dream to equip LFR gears. No, it'll happen. This is just the first random group I got. But I have all weekend. I have another 48 hours plus, like another 60 hours to spend on this. Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna no life it. I'm gonna go out right now. I'm gonna go out right now. I'm gonna go buy some Hot Pockets, and I'm just gonna no life this all weekend, guys. Just buy some Hot Pockets, get a bucket. Cartman has inspired me. I'm gonna do this. Are people testing how to rage in LFR? Yeah, they are. You should read the raid chat. If I wasn't terrified of people just saying the most racist things right now because they're already cursing at each other, they're already like, these people are already at each other's throats. If I wasn't completely worried about people just being very racist, I would let you guys see the raid chat. But I think we're like one pull away from somebody just starting to be racist. You were blissfully trying to ignore the changes to spell reflect. I know, John. 20%. So we used to be at 50%, right? In current live Legion, 20% is by taking away our artifact weapon. Our artifact weapon gave us 20%, and then the other 15% is just because they wanted to. They were like, done. Also, one does not simply test LFR and maintain sanity. Wisest man ever. Who said that? Whoever said that. Smart move. I agree. Like, what phase do I need to complain in to sound more like a jerk-face noob? When people died in the elevator, that one attempt we had, like the 2 attempts ago, people died on the elevator to the laser beam. Someone immediately said that the tank blew up a bomb on the raid, and it's like, I saw a giant laser beam take you out. I don't think the Blood DK tank in here summoned a giant laser beam and got you. However, maybe they added a new ability to Blood DKs. I've only played, the last time I played Blood DKs in the beta was when it was actually an alpha, so I mean, who knows? Maybe they were like, hey, you know what? DKs need laser beams, because Arthas had one after he got Frostmourne, he actually got laser beams. Little known fact. Freaking lasers. Alright. Rotating my defensive cooldowns. People are standing really, really close to the blood. Those people are gonna die. They need to learn. They need to learn. Alright. Ooh, they're walking away from it. Nice. There's that cleave that goes out. No lifer raging in the beta LFR. Yeah, I'm gonna just start yelling at people. Alright, Cudgel of Gore. How many people are gonna die? I wanna say 5. 5 people. Nobody? There was people right next to me. What? There was people right next to me. That is weird. Unless the devs were seeing it and then they were like, oh no, it's too much damage. They're right, they're right. In LFR, nothing should touch you. They might have just hotfixed the damage. That is really weird. That was a big difference. That was way too big of a difference. These droplets, if they don't reach anyone, I can blow them up whenever I want. No, I can't? That one ran through me and then blew up after. I don't understand what happened with that one. Oh no, laser beams! Alright, where's the next laser beam coming out of? Okay, right down the middle. Right down the middle in front of me. Oh, this whole group. Goodbye. Goodbye, group. Oh, 2 deaths? 1 death and a cheat death. Alright, where's the next one coming through? Same place. And the next one off on the edge. So if I stay on this side, I'm good. I'll be good on this side. And one more death, one more death. Almost. Ooh, we almost had a... There was a hunter that went down to like 1%. And the last one is all the way on that side of the edge. The opposite side. Pop that volatile droplet. There it is. Pop this one too. Or not. This one. Cool. Nice. We're done with laser beams. Phase 2. We only have 2 dead people. We got this. We got this. Everybody glitched into the middle section. We all glitched into this pool of blood and all took insane amounts of damage. That's always cool. And now it's really, really laggy. Whoa! My FPS, guys. 10K computer. Alright, so at 100 energy, again, we are going to get that cudgel. So here we go, 100 energy going out right now. He's going to run into the middle. Some people might die. Some people might die. Yep, we had a few people die. Not a lot, a few. Alright, so we have so much area here. I'm not going to worry too much about the blood cleanup at this very moment. But this is looking like a good candidate over here. Up to my right hand side. Oh no, I'm dying. I'm dying and I have to wait to pop ignore pains. Alright, so here's my bolster. While I have this bolster up, I'm just Superman. I don't have to worry about anything. Also, when I have bolster up, I don't need to use my charges of active mitigation because I'm already guaranteed crit when I do that. Alright. I gotta... Oh! The DK taunted off of me right before the cudgel went out. He wants to clear up that portion of the room. Cool. Let me taunt back off. Bring him back over here. We're losing ground fast, guys. We are definitely losing ground fast because this... We do have the volatile droplets or whatever here. So I can try to like leap over here. There's a person over there who's just like standing there. You see that? They're not casting anything. They're just kind of like chilling. So I can... There it is. They're coming back. Yeah, I can go drop over there. Oh, most people are dead now. Feels bad, man. Alright, we are at 70, 80 rage. I'm going to take this guy far, far away. Unless the DK taunts off me again. Nope, on me. Alright, let's go. Probably going to die. That's a lot of magic damage. No. Alright, we do have the other tank still up. And this guy has way too much HP for the other tank to deal with. He has 9.7 million. Although, getting closer. This was our best attempt. We got this next attempt. The elevator boss is claiming way too many lives. Even if I came here on a Guardian Druid and didn't take any damage, I still can't solo it. Oh, the other tank is leaving. Whoops. Feels bad, man. Hopefully we find a tank replacement very soon. Alright. Are we... What? There it is. Somebody queued us up. Let's find another tank. This will be fun. Let's get another pull going. Oh, I think we need another healer too. I think it gives us 5 healers. Or 6 healers, rather. Oh no, it just gives us 5. We're just missing one guy. My damage taken was not too bad. The other tank was taking in 9.4 thousand damage taken, but he's a DK, so he can heal a lot of it off. I was taking 5.3k per second. So definitely a lot less. So yeah, things are looking better. I still wish Ignore Pain was off the global, but you know, we have no healing, so we're taking less. One big thing with Protection Warrior tanks is that we absolutely scale with our gear. You lack any gear, you're done. I don't want to walk in there yet because we have a few antsy people that keep body pulling. There's one Shadow Priest in part. No, he's actually... Is he Shadow? Oh, he was healing. He went to DPS. So, yeah, we have one priest in there who keeps body pulling. Or did he just queue up as a... He queued up as a DPSer, and is he... He's holy, but he queued up as DPS. Wouldn't the timer be lower if you just queue up as a healer? Logic and reasoning needs to take a back seat here. Did we... Oh, a lot of people are leaving and joining, but not a tank. We just need a tank. We just need a tank. One of you guys need to come in here and tank this with me. Although, not that many people are listening. By the way, the Ian of No King Rules Forever with Warlocks. Yeah, demo Warlocks are broken right now. Or is... Oh, they're Affliction? Are they all Affliction? No, demo, Affliction, and... demo. Yeah, I think this chart was all demos. I think this guy left, but demo Warlocks, No King Rules Forever. Yeah, they are. They're still fine. Oh man, the chat isn't updating. Let me refresh this chat, guys. Sorry. LFR is cruise control for the super casual? Yes, it is. Your wife asked me if you want to do LFR, and your response, I can't, I have to go clean the bathrooms and scrub a toilet. It's like being a foot soldier in medieval Europe. Keep filling the breach, we're almost inside. Yep. Yep. The other tank whispered me. He was like, I'm done, nobody's listening. And I was like, yeah, we're testing out LFR. I was like, it seems like we're testing out all aspects of LFR. And he was like, this is astounding. Do people expect free loot? Yeah. Yeah. Part of me thinks that, like, so the dungeon scaling is always really insane. I think by the end of an expansion, we're super strong to the point where we need stat squishes, because there's 4 levels of difficulty, and in order to differentiate each tier of difficulty, there's like a 10 to 15 item level gap between every single tier. So just between one tier, you can have up to 80 item levels difference in one tier. You multiply that by 3 or 4 tiers per dungeon. It's a lot of scaling upward, and a lot of things that you're gonna have to deal with. Back in the day, you didn't have to deal with that much because there was only either regular normal mode or normal heroic. So I think one of the things that Blizzard can do to try to have to combat stat squishing every single expansion is to make LFR normal difficulty. You remove one of the difficulties, you're also going to be requesting the higher level of play, but you're going to remove one of the difficulties and one of the scales that's going to go up, so you're not going to have like items that go up that high. You know, there's a few things that I think they can do to try to help out, and I think doing that cudgel is going to go out. There it is. That tank heroic leaped perfectly. People are standing really close to him. That damage did get nerfed for sure. You guys see how little that hit? There was people right next to the tank. They are hot fixing things right in front of our eyes. I knew it. Remember when people try to do LFR Gul'dan, but then you realize you have to pay attention? Yeah, that was rough, man. Didn't follow alpha beta changes lately, except that IP is on a global now. What are the most impactful changes from live? So for Protection Warriors, the most impactful things, there are a lot of little things, right? This boss can be one tank, so let me just show you. Shield Slam generates 15 rage, down from 20. Thunderclap now generates 5. Devastator, or Devastate doesn't generate any rage at all. And the Devastator talent point also doesn't generate any rage. Charge generates 15 instead of 20. So what this means is that you're generating less rage per second. Shield block is now at 30 rage cost, so it went up. It used to be 40. They tuned it down to 30. So you generate less rage, you eat more rage. Ignore pain is now scaled back a lot. It doesn't currently live in Legion. It takes your attack power, multiplies it by 2,800%. This iteration only multiplies your attack power by 500%. And I don't think it's the direct result of Stat Squish, because Stat Squish would lower my attack power, not a multiplier. So yeah, Ignore Pain is a bubble for about 10% of my HP now. It only stacks up to 1.3 times. Laser Beam got some people. It only stacks up to 1.3 times instead of stacking up to 3 full Ignore Pains. And I think that's it. I think those are the big changes. You generate less rage. You could, your rage spenders cost more rage. Ignore Pain is a very small bubble now that can't really stack. Oh, the last change as well is oh damn it, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, Ignore Pain being a small bubble. Oh, Spell Reflect got nerfed as well. Spell Reflect in Legion did 30% magic mitigation, and then with your weapon 50, and now does 15%. And then we got a new talent point. So the snare from Thunderclap got reduced down to 20% of a snare as opposed to 50% that it is in live. We have Dragon Roar now, and Dragon Roar is our 50% snare. It is also on the global. It generates 10 rage, and it hits hard as hell. That's really it. This bolster talent point is also new. It makes it so that while you have last stand up, you also have shield block up, and it doesn't use charges or anything. If you pop last stand, you are guaranteed blocking while last stand is up. Oh, Into the Fray also changed. Into the Fray now also gives you haste when there's people, allies nearby. So yeah, but the most impactful, you generate less rage, you eat more rage. Oh, Ignore Pain now costs 40 rage all the time. It doesn't scale between 20 to 60. It's 40 rage, that's it. That sucks, no longer building huge Ignore Pains with off tanking. Nope, you can build 1.3 Ignore Pains. So you guys will see here, look at this. 15,000, right? Let me cast another full Ignore Pain right now. Jumps up to 19,000. That's it. Even if I cast another one, let me cast another one right now. Oh, it scaled down because I took damage. But yeah, you guys can see that it didn't like maintain its number or anything. No, it's just 1.3 times. So a total rage cost of 60 rage. It costs 40 rage per cast, but if you want to talk about how much it can totally scale up to, only 60. Actually, less than 60. It would be 60 would be time and a half. So it would be like 50 something. Yeah, sorry, it would be 50 something. That's like the best answer you could have imagined. Yeah, no problem, Aaron. So a lot of number rage tweaking playstyle doesn't change all too much. Not anymore. We had bolster. We had like another active mitigation at one point, but yeah, no. The way that blocking works is changing though, but that's for everybody, which would just be prot paladins and prot warriors. But yeah, the way that blocking works is being changed. So quick little thing. If you can do all your own maths, your armor right here is like, let's say my armor right now 5,600, right? You see my shield has 5,600 block. Whenever I block, I add my shield to my armor, and that's how I mitigate damage. So instead of block being 30% of damage or a crit block being 60%, it is now your armor plus your shield. A crit block is your armor plus your shield twice. So if we look at my current armor, my current shield, I have 5,600 on my armor, 5,600 here on my shield. I add those two up, I end up with 11,000 armor. So a regular block makes it seem like I have 11,000 armor. A crit block does my armor and my shield twice. That's going to put me at like 16,000 armor. So yeah, crit blocks are going to add my shield in twice. So protection paladins don't get that benefit, but we do. And so that means that we're subject to like slow diminishing returns and stuff. If you are interested, by the way, in the formula for calculating how much damage reduction armor gives, let me know, and I have a formula for that. It's not 100% perfect, but it's within 1%. But I can give you that formula if you'd like. If not, you can wait till like next week. I'm gonna release the formula in a video and explain everything. Uh-oh, I just realized that everybody's dead. That's what happens when you're just explaining things. Alright, we have to do 1 million damage before we die, guys. We got this, right? Oof. Oof. We're gonna die at like 0.5%. Yep. Not much we can do about that. So yeah, a lot of the playstyle things have been changed. Just in general, the warrior ones are a little more specific. But it's a lot of little things as opposed to like one big thing. Like your demo shout has a shorter cooldown now by, I believe, 15 or 30 seconds. I forget. But yeah, it's just like a lot of things. Block was 30%. Give me numbers, is better or worse? You mean is it gear dependent? Is it worth more than 30%? No, not at all. Block is worse now than it was before. So if you look at my block right now, look at my armor right now. 47%, right? When I block, it goes up to 64. So that's what, 17% upgrade, right? So that's a 17% chance, and this hits diminishing returns. Somebody pulled. So this hits diminishing returns, right? So that means that right now it's a 17% buff, but when I crit block, let me load up my let me load this up so I can give you actual fact numbers. So when I block, I have 16,000. 16,000 puts me at 70% mitigation. So a critical block does 6%. My regular block does 17. Critical block does 6%. So as we scale upwards, blocking is going to mitigate less and less in terms of percentage, but it's an overall nerf to Legion numbers. But it's going to be easier to scale. So like, since you played a Prot Warrior in Legion, I'm sure you know that blocking was stupid overpowered for Kill Jaden's claws. Kill Jaden's claws, while you had like crit blocking up, they were nothing. You were good. Done. Nowadays, you're going to be more in line with other tanks. While all the other tanks struggled with Fell Claws, and we didn't as much, now we're going to be on the same boat as them. So, yeah. Quick question, do the PvP honor talents work in PvE? Nope. Nope. I have war mode enabled. My war mode is on, and here's my dragon charge. Here's my shield bash. Here's my alright, where's my disarm? My disarm's over here as well. Yeah, no, it doesn't work. It's only for open world content. It works in PvE while you're questing with war mode on. That's it. It works while you're questing. But if you go into a dungeon or a raid, you're no longer in the open world. It only works in open world settings. You don't know how you feel about Dragon War. Thunderclap is still a snare, but it's been nerfed. You have to talent to Dragon War to get a decent snare. Yes. But you will want to pull large enough to want to kite, and you produce a lot less threat now. I agree. If Thunderclap was still 50% threat, I would say that Dragon's Roar is just it's for AoE threat. But as it exists right now, Dragon's Roar is for kiting. Dragon's Roar is for necrotic. It's for raging. It's for bolstering. It's for those weeks where you need a snare. That's what Dragon Roar is right now. That's it. That's what you need it to do. And that's just because they decided to nerf Thunderclap, which I don't understand why. A lot of other classes still maintain their ability to snare and kite just fine. And it wasn't like nobody was looking at Thunderclap and saying, yo, that snare is OP. It was fine. It was fine. And in fact, a lot of people to this day still say that Thunderclap doesn't let you kite. That a 50% snare is just not enough to be able to do anything significant. And I agree, Thunderclap was just the way we made things work. It wasn't strong. Yeah, no problem, professional. To me, it's sending a mixed message. I think, unfortunately, in BfA, a lot of things are a mixed message, right? We get the developer Q&As, and they say one thing, and then the real message is another. Like, at first, they were saying, Azerite gear, it's going to be your strongest gear. It's going to be insane how much you do with Azerite gear. It's made out of the blood of the strongest world soul in existence in the universe. And then you look at the traits, and it's like 10% more damage to Mortal Strike. Not 10% more damage overall. Not 10% more strength, attack power. 10% more to one ability. Like, this is You're telling me one thing and I'm seeing another. Or when they would say the global cooldown change, it's not going to affect you that much. Sure, if you're a mage, a caster, you're sitting there doing all these cast times. Yeah, global cooldown change, not going to affect you that much. Tanks need to do both things. Tanks need to hit and stop themselves from being hit that hard at the same time. So there's like really mixed messages. And then the whole like slowing down the game, their reasoning was, if you take a look at the game in the past, it was always slow. Yeah, but that hasn't been true for a decent amount of expansions. And that's not to say that if we were going to go to the past and be like, this is what World of Warcraft has always traditionally been, then we might as well just have classic WoW servers with the current content. We might as well introduce reagents again, introduce like 5-minute buffs, introduce 30-minute cooldowns, introduce 1-hour cooldowns. Like, we might as well, if you're trying to go to the core of what World of Warcraft is, make classic WoW and make it so that all of the current content is applied to classic WoW as well for the current expansion. It's just, you know, I feel that BfA has a lot of mixed messages from what we get in the Q&As even, and as well as what we're getting for talent points. I'm not quite sure what the aim is of this whole expansion yet. Like, sweeping changes I'm okay with. Like, hey, every single tank got their active mitigation changed and nerfed to be only physical damage. That's cool. That's fine. They're gonna find a way to make things scale off of that physical damage. I'm okay with that change. Does that mean that each individual tank got nerfed? Yeah, but in the exact same way. So I'm okay with that. But then we have boss fights. Like, if you look at, if you have the beta, go to the dungeon journal and look up the last fight in this raid. The last fight in this raid does only magic damage all the time except for auto attacks. Tanks? How is a tank going to be able to survive that when everything got changed to be physical? That last fight is going to suck. So the only way to make a fight difficult is to take away our ability to mitigate things. I don't know. It seems weird. We're going to get this boss down now. Cudgel is going to take out one person? Oh, okay. Good. The FPS drops. They're so real, man. There it is, guys. Time for some loot. Alright. Give me the loot. Hey! We did! Oh my god, and we got our Haste Mastery piece too. Our best in slot piece. Haste Mastery. Nice! Equip these new pants. I'm not gonna trade these. Kidding me? Got him. Thunderclap with Leap was where it was at. I agree, man. I agree. For some reason, my chat isn't working. I have to look at my chat here. You got to look at the holistic look. They have to slow down the game a bit. They're pushing competitive features like Mythic Plus. Average player base doesn't do well in the Mythic Plus. How do you fix that? Slow down the game where decisions aren't last second. I agree. Monthly active users. Historically, Blizzard gives you a device with 2 batteries, and they remove the battery. Say it's clunky without batteries, and give you 1 battery back. Yes. So here's my thing. They want to slow down the gameplay, right? And it's they said that it's for tradition. Now, I also agree with you that they're slowing down the game for the viewer experience because of Mythic Plus. I don't think it's for gameplay. I think it's for their bottom line. I think it's for the popularity and sustainability of World of Warcraft as an esport. I think they need to do it. They haven't said that. So when we talk about mixed signals, that's one of them. But if they're going to slow down the game in terms of users, right? How fast you can input things into the game. Everything is on a 1.5 second delay. They're slowing us down, but they're not slowing down the game. When you run a Mythic Plus, things still have the same cast time. Things still hit you for the same damage per second in the same spiky or non-spiky manner, depending on what we're talking about that is hitting you. If they want to slow down the game, add a global cooldown to NPCs as well. Add a global cooldown to their cast time. Increase their cast time by 1 second on everything. But everything is the same. So our ability to react and our ability to perceive the game is at the same speed but our ability to input through the game is slowed down by 1.5 seconds. It doesn't make sense to me. If you want to slow things down by 1.5 seconds, slow everything down by 1.5 seconds. RNGesus smiled upon me, dude. That was good. That was good, nerds. Got some loot. What can Mother drop for me? A helmet? Does this helmet have Azurite? It doesn't have the border. All of these things are upgrades for me. I didn't go buy my token. I can't extra roll. You'll be the first person to admit I don't know how the average player manages in this game. You can't fathom how poorly people play, not just a small group of players, but the majority are really bad at this game. John, yes. I think I looked at, there was recently a survey on MMO Champ, right? This survey on MMO Champ. Oh, we don't get a stacking debuff anymore. Perfect. LFR, easy, done. So the survey asked, like, what is your highest level completed in Mythic Plus? And I believe like over 50% of people were below Mythic Plus 15. So even though Mythic Plus 15 gives the highest rewards, and most people should want to push that and incentivize for that, most people are not pushing even a plus 15 like ever. It said what is your highest level completed in all of Legion. So I agree that the majority of the player base is LFR and normal. The majority of the player base is not heroic and mythic, which is why I even argued as well earlier with the tank threat changes. Can you imagine the large majority of people are playing at LFR and normal standards, right? These aggro changes are going to be affecting the large majority of the player base insanely amount. Like an disproportionate amount of people are going to get affected by this. So I don't agree with like these changes that they're making to like the threat and a lot of these changes, like even Loot Council, not Loot Council, Master Looter, you're just the few people that play your game competitively for world first, which is like 0.5%, you're screwing them over. I don't understand that, but okay. Master Looter aside, a lot of the decisions are just going to impact like the lowest amount of people in an efficient way, and then in a non-efficient way, in a completely imbalanced way, they're going to impact everybody else. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what some of these changes are for. The thing is, Blizzard has these Q&As, and as much as I'm like, no guys, it's okay. Blizzard, at the end of the day, they develop the game we love. I agree. But the thing is, what they tell us in the Q&A doesn't match up with the impact it has on actual players. So I'm not saying that what they say in the Q&A is a complete lie, that they're just lying through their teeth. I'm just saying that they analyze an impact having a certain impact, or they say this is going to change the game in this way, and while it is, you have to take into consideration that it's going to impact the large majority of people in a different way. It's going to impact the people that watch Q&As, the people that go to MMO Champ, the people that go to Wowhead, the people that see guides. They are going to be less impacted. They do their research. They know their rotation. They go to Icy Veins and see how to baseline start building their thing. They go to class discords. They know what theory crafting is. The large majority of people aren't going to be in that boat. Sanitizing strike, okay. You need to avoid that. The other tank went down, but it's okay. We all got to the secondary place. Now we all need to start going through this one to get to the last portion with the laser beams. But half of the raid team is dead, but at least we got to transition over to phase 2 relatively well. I wish more people, if the room hits 100, we die. Yeah, here's the chamber. Chamber 02. Yeah, so the chamber right now is at 25%, but nobody's moving. I think I need to just grab the boss and drag her. Like, we all need to go. But if we all go at the same time, we all die. Yeah, we need more people. You certainly do not agree with most of the system changes, and an excuse of Blizzard justifies this, but you can't fathom how they affect the average player. The reasoning just doesn't... The reasoning doesn't stand basic reasoning. That's the thing. Their reasoning, their game has 4 difficulties, right? Their game has LFR, normal, heroic, and mythic difficulty. When they tell us this is how it's going to affect the player, they choose which difficulty they're telling us it's going to affect. So, like, when they talk about the master loot changes, they're telling us how they're going to affect the mythic player database. And then when they tell us how they're going to be changing the global cooldown change and that most people need that time to react, they're slowing down the gameplay for the LFR portion. Like, they pick and choose which portion of the argument is going to be relevant to their change. And I think it's like it's a little frustrating. Your highest key is 19 and you know you're not in the majority nor you're in the upper tier. Yeah, my highest key is a 20 and I'm definitely not in the highest tier of players. I know that. To be sure, not everyone plays the hardcore and just wants to play to relax. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I just think that changes should be looked at in a different way. Why are we... Oh, yeah, that guy body pulls all the time. Oh, he's AFK. That's fine. That's the guy who was body pulling the first boss. Body pulling. Why did you change the pot out for a skillet? The sky is blue. Well, that's the thing. Like those, you can run that argument. Why did you change the pot for a skillet? It's because it's an electric stove and not a gas stove. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't impact everything that there is to know about that decision. They're just, you know, the decision making. They'll tell you a partial truth. They'll tell you this is how it's going to impact it, and it's like, sure, that's how it's going to impact people who only run Mythic Plus just for their loot at the end, and they only run a... Oh God, I whispered someone, and I think it put me as AFK and booted me out. Fuck. Ah, damn it. Why did it boot me out? Or unless they booted everybody out? Is everybody here with me? Oh, everybody's here with me. They booted everybody out. Yeah, a lot of people got booted out. Not my whole group, though. Only about 4 people from my group. That's weird. I did whisper someone who was AFK, but they canceled the test. End of test phase. Huh. Okay. They said that the test was going to be all weekend. No more LFR. No more LFR testing. Is that true? Let me see. Let me drop the group. I'm outside anyway. They did. Read the forums. The raid is bugged, so they closed it. What? Things were a little buggy, but they were as buggy as beta always is. All right. Guess not. Ian is a lawyer. You know what to expect when he talks. Half of the truth and misdirections. Yeah, that's why, like, you can't look at the Q&As and say they are lying, but they're not telling the whole truth. They're not telling the whole impact. They're not analyzing the whole impact. They're looking at specific sections of the community and going, no, you see, it's only going to do this to them and it's fine, and like everybody else is going to be fine. But when you start looking at the percentages of people and who experiences what portion of the expansion, that's when you start seeing the discrepancies. John, I appreciate this conversation that we're having and being able to meet in a middle ground, because putting out like a lot of this content, you meet a lot of people that only see things as black and white, and if they're ready with their rebuttal before you're even done talking. So I appreciate the banter, John, and welcome, man. I hadn't seen you in the chat at least too actively before, so I appreciate it. All right, guys, that is going to conclude today's live stream. I guess they just ended the testing. Let me look at the blue tracker to see if I can load it up. Come on, guys. Blue tracker. So that is going to conclude today's live stream. If you guys were here watching all of this stuff, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Raid testing scheduler. We've encountered a majority issues trigger causing several bosses not to function. Oh no! Let me show you guys. Right here, right in the middle. So if you guys wanted to LFR test this weekend, which I wanted to, because I wanted to get all the footage, and I wanted to test all my weak auras, and I wanted to build stuff out, no, not going to happen. Alright guys, that is going to wrap up today's stream. Thank you guys for stopping by. We are going to be live streaming again next week on Wednesday. Remember, we live stream every Wednesday, every Friday, and I should have my Guardian Druid in a much better shape by next Wednesday. I'm going to try to hit 120. I'm at level 114, and dungeon crawling is so easy. That's just what I'm doing. So hopefully I'll be there. Life doesn't happen in black and white, mostly gray. I agree, John. Thank you for taking the time to present the content. No problem, John. John, and I try to keep most of my videos fact-based, and if I start delving into opinions, I let it be known that this is what I think and I feel. So if you want to stop by more often and enjoy the content, you know, I would welcome you. The conversation was great, man. All right, Sebastian, see you next time. As expected for LFR, whether it's either alpha or beta, yeah. LFR broke the servers. This is it, guys. They did a test of LFR. They found it breaks the servers. They're removing LFR and BfA. That's it. This is the moment we confirmed it. They're removing LFR. All right, guys. I will see you next Wednesday, hopefully with Endgame Guardian Druid. I'm excited for that. I want to see how OP it is. All right, guys. See you all next Friday. Enjoy your weekends.